Welcome back to another UCL Fantasy Deadline stream, this time at a Matchday 8, which is its own entity. I did cover this last season when we had the new format, and we have 18 matches happening at the same time. All 36 clubs will be participating, and that means we have no substitutions, only one shot at the captaincy, and if possible, I would highly encourage you to wait until the lineups in 20 to 30 minutes time, and that's when we can start locking in our teams with more informed decisions, because we will have that very key information on who starts, who's on the bench, and for example, in my team, Gabriel Magalhaes, he's not flagged or anything like that, but I don't expect him to start against Kara Almaty, and that's why I'm open to making a defender transfer. I talked about Upamecano being a doubt because he missed Matchday 7, much to my anguish. He also missed the Bundesliga game over the weekend, a 2-1 loss against Augsburg, but it looks like he's going to actually start in this game, but we're going to find out anyway. There's no point really speculating about that. I do have some predicted lineups and a few bits and bobs which I can go through quite quickly, but in terms of is this player going to start or not, it's better just answer that definitively in 30 to 40 minutes time. So 1 hour, 15 minutes before kickoff and the deadline, we should have every single lineup, and I'll be going through every single one of them one by one, highlighting the key UCL fantasy assets. But Bukayo Saka is another example of a player I don't expect to start. Even with Guirassy, I've got some doubts. I talked about Harry Kane. Harry Kane. I mean, that's not a bad name, but Harry Kane being a decent option, and Michael Olise as well, of course, but there is the chance of rotation there for Bayern Munich because they have secured a top 2 spot essentially. They are in the round of 16 regardless. The same goes for Arsenal, who are definitely in that top 2 bracket, but I think Harry Kane will start. I have changed my mind on certain things compared to the recordings from yesterday, the triple recording and upload for UCL Fantasy. Drop a like on this stream to show your support. Subscribe to the channel. We're looking to close in on new goals like 39k subscribers on YouTube, and check all the links in the description. There's my Patreon and the Championships, fair likes to my videos, proud to comments, amongst my other perks. My Discord server, the UCL Fantasy League, and Spotify can also be found in the description. So I'll start things off by answering some questions, and then I'm going to go through all the information I've got with me that I saw from today and yesterday. Easy summing up there, 18 matches at the same time. With a chaotic finale, yes, I would definitely predict that as well. We might even get some big shocks in terms of who's on the bench and maybe some surprise starters, but that always tends to happen towards the end of the league phase. FPL Kevy says, hello mate, this is it, the peak of the UCL. 18 games for us, gonna be fun, and we'll have to make sure we get our benchings right. Good luck everyone. Yep, very well summed up, and all the best to you and everyone watching. It is a very unique situation. It is similar to Matchday 17 for the Champions League final, but in that case, you've only got 2 teams participating. With this instance, you've got 36 clubs included, and it's going to be just a lot of information to process, and that's what I'm going to do my very best to make sure everyone is up to speed and they can make the best decisions possible for their fantasy teams. Falcon, good to see you. We spoke a bit on Discord earlier. All the best to you as well. This is going to be a fun day to watch. It depends. If I have a lot of players on the bench, then maybe I will disagree. But on paper, yeah, the premise is certainly there. Welcome also to Lamby27. Good to see you. And a big shout out to the new members, patrons, and super chatters. I will be gifting memberships towards the beginning of February, so keep your eyes peeled for that in my FPL and UCL Fantasy Deadline streams. I don't want nobody else. Go at intro song. Yeah, that's from my cousin. Big up to him, and all the music you hear in the intro is from him. And yeah, pretty decent. Not gonna lie. A lot of people have waxed lyrical about it, and with good reason. Big up as well to you, Harrison James, and to the chat. 2:15 a.m. Our cat woke me up. What time will the lineups be out? Well, the cat did you a favor, UCL fantasy wise, but yeah, in 20 minutes from the time I'm speaking now, so around 6:45 p.m. in the UK. So yeah, it's going to be 22 minutes, give or take. Underrated player to pick for the final match, Gabriel Martinelli. That's one that springs to mind. Drunk Baller says 18 matches. I'll either own a Ferrari tomorrow or start selling. Whoa, nothing in between. Let's go. That is a very strange comment, but also a welcome one, I guess. Just be careful what you pick. Paredes says, hey Dylan, so basically we have a wild card after this match day and before the final stages after the knockouts. We get unlimited transfers for match day 9 and 11. That is correct, but it's not the same as a wildcard in the sense that you can't pick when to use unlimited transfers. You have to use them, if you want to, in match day 9 or 11, but you can't say, oh, I'd want to use it in match day 10 or 12. That's not really going to be the case. You also don't get 2 chips for one half of the season and then one for the last part of the campaign. It's not like in FPL, so it's very important to bear that in mind when making your transfers. But for Matchday 8, it's all about what's right in front of us. We don't need to worry about the knockout playoffs. And even when we get to Matchday 9 and 10, yeah, you just pick players who are featuring in those knockout playoffs. And after that, we can start looking at the round of 16 in Matchday 11. Good to see you, Ricardo. Bosso, good to see you. Some familiar faces in the chat and also profile pictures, if I dare say so myself. Sean as well. We here. That's good. And Lager, as always, it's a pleasure. Thank you for also the great work you do on the Discord server. Nehal, also welcome. Harrison James says, also 2:15 for me. Wesley Franz, gotta love the 4 a.m. kickoffs. It depends. If you can actually stay up and watch them, that would be pretty handy. Yo, Dylan, don't really do UCL Fantasy, but always nice seeing you. I'd encourage you to check it out. It's a very fun game, and a lot of people have said that before. They tune into my FPL content, then have a look at UCL Fantasy, it piques their interest, and then they start playing it, and it's another addiction that forms, but a good one. I would highly recommend you check it out, especially going into next season. So yeah, Ricardo, as you say, we do get unlimited transfers in Matchday 9 and 11. I just wouldn't call it a wild card just in case people get a bit confused, but yeah, that is essentially correct. Best defender for this Matchday. I think Ben White could be quite decent, and it really depends on the Arsenal starting 11 because, for example, if Hincapie's in that lineup, I'd probably go for him. But right now, I'm very confident White will start, so he would be one of my top suggestions. Arsenal have a great chance of a clean sheet on paper against Kara and Mati. According to the clean sheet odds, which I took from fantasyfootballpundit.com, Arsenal have a 65% chance of keeping a clean sheet. Drunk Baller says 8 teams on 13 points. This match day will be a nail biter. Yes, in terms of the context of the table, you are correct. There are a lot of permutations and scenarios which will lead to some thrilling action. I'm looking forward to it. It's a shame I don't have 36 screens, or I should say 18 screens in front of me. 36 would be a bit over the top. But yeah, I'm going to try my best to keep up with all the action. Szoboszlai captain against Karabag. He's not in my top 10 list, but he's been brilliant. He's one of the highest scoring players in UCL Fantasy. I have back Salah against Karabag, but I'll be honest, the away side are quite decent and they could cause Liverpool problems, but from an attacking perspective, I think that could be a high-scoring game, and Szoboszlai is one of Liverpool's best players for sure. This season, he's been by far the best. Yeah, best wildcard I talked about in my video yesterday. What I'll try to do later is go through my updated wildcard Limitless squads because a few things have changed. So, for example, I think Kane will start now, but honestly, it's probably just best to wait 20 minutes and then we get the lineups. That's when I can finalize those teams, but I'll go through that very shortly. Just Parky says, yay, a fantasy where at the moment I don't suck. Fingers crossed, usually is the other way around. Yeah, you're doing well in UCL Fantasy, and with FPL, of course, it can be frustrating when you're not getting the performances or results you want, but it's a process, and we're still in January. I know February's fast approaching, but there is still a long way to go in the season, and I don't just say that as a cliche, I genuinely mean it. So yeah, the lineups will come out in less than 20 minutes now. So if you're in the UK, 6:45 p.m, that's when we'll find out. And what I'll probably do is go to UEFA.com, their predicted lineup section, and I think on that page we can see all the lineups in one go, essentially. We get unlimited transfers in Matchday 9. It's not a wildcard per se, but it essentially functions the same way, unlimited transfers. And you also get that in Matchday 11 as well. It's all covered in my chip strategy guide that I made towards the beginning of the season. This Matchday table will be like a heart rate, up and down. Maybe not with Arsenal though, just to kind of put that in there. After the weekend, got to brag about something. Edgar, good to see you as well. Thank you very much. Fermin Lopez, Yamal or Rafinha? I think for this match day it's going to be Yamal, but Fermin Lopez has been brilliant for me. Rafinha was the best Barca player last season in UCL Fantasy, and it's been a different story this time round because of the injuries, which is a massive shame. Good to see you, Oogie Boogie, and also massive thank you for the last couple of live streams. I appreciate your support. Let's fucking get those team sheets. Yes. I was also reading that as clean sheets, but I'm thinking a bit too much now. My defensive line is looking crap, but we'll talk about that very soon. Thank you, Kuka, and good luck as well. Lambie says, which players are worth taking a hit for if you don't have them in your team at the moment? just to be prepared. Kane if he starts, Kylian Mbappe, Lamine Yamal. I think those sorts of players would definitely enter the equation. And when I show you my top 10 captains, I think that list will explain itself. Even Salah could be another option. But yeah, I'd be less keen on that sort of hit because I think Salah has been inconsistent this season compared to the other players I've just mentioned. Welcome, Juan. Hey, Dylan. Good luck to everyone. Will be a great football night. Yes, that's what we're counting on. And I think it will be. Good night, Dylan. Enjoying the stream thus far. Much appreciated, and I'm glad to hear it. Hopefully you keep on enjoying it, even if I get a few things wrong when it comes to suggestions or 50-50 calls. We all know fantasy can go one way or the other. Good evening, Heated Gaming. Looking forward to the next 4 hours. Yes, definitely. This stream will not be going on for 4 hours, though. I have done that in the past, but maybe for Matchday 1. I think that was the longest live stream I've ever done. But yeah. For this one, just 2 hours, and then we can enjoy the football. That's going to be even more entertaining. Any defenders I can pick up for the last match day to replace Pedro Porro and Dan Burn? Ben White, and essentially any Arsenal defender who starts, like Hincapié. That's another potential starter, but I couldn't really guarantee it. I'm more confident about Ben White in that starting 11. Potential rotation for the team already confirmed in the top 8. Well, that's Arsenal and Bayern Munich, right? The rest haven't officially secured it. That's why I talked about Harry Kane being a possible rotation risk for Matchday 8, but I have changed my mind a little bit about that. With Arsenal, though, I would expect heavy rotation. So Saka, Gabriel, both of them in my team, I'd be shocked if they started. And even if they do, I don't think they'll get more than 60 minutes. But we'll wait and see. Hopefully I am wrong, because I think that would be a massive boost to my fantasy team. I'm also having a look on Twitter and seeing if we get any news, but yeah, really in terms of lineups, it's best to wait for the official ones in 15 minutes. But I'm going to go through those pieces of information now. Joel Clark says, recommend a hit this week, mate. I think in some situations, yes. It is very team dependent, but if you are in a similar situation to me, I'd probably lean towards yes. I'm very open to taking a -4 hit for the 3rd consecutive week in UCL Fantasy. Okay, so just having a look here. Okay, so let's go through the different screens. Let's get this off for now. Yeah, Twister Parker says, big up all of you with cats. Oh, that's an interesting comment. Okay, don't forget dogs. Come on, everyone loves dogs as well. So this is the UCL Fantasy League. Be sure to join. The code is SEINOF. There's an auto-join link, which makes it so simple to become a part of one of the biggest mini leagues in the world. We've got over 5,000 members, and the numbers keep on growing. With Predict 6, which I'll get back to very soon, hopefully before the deadline, I've gone for Benfica 1, Real Madrid 3, Paris 2, Newcastle 0, Man City 2, Galatasaray 1, Liverpool 2, Karabag 1, Barcelona 3, Copenhagen 1, and Napoli 1, Chelsea 1. I'll also have a look at quiz. That should be a bit of fun. There are daily quizzes there on the website. And this is Inter Milan's predicted 11. It's not worth going into massive detail because we're going to find out in literally 10 to 15 minutes. But this is according to Sky Sports Italia, so it's very likely that this will be the final 11 for Inter. Sommer, Bastoni, Akanji, Bisek, DeMarco, Mkhitaryan, Zielinski, Sucic, Luis Enrique, Lautaro Martinez, and Thuram. Next up is the PSG squad, and the big news here is that Hakimi and João Neves are now available, and some reports like this one indicate that Hakimi will start, or at least get significant game time in Matchday 8. Bruno Guimaraes could be a very key returnee there for Newcastle after missing the last game against Aston Villa. He was a massive blow there for the Toon Army, but I think Bruno Guimaraes could be available. It all comes down to late fitness test, according to Eddie Howe, and with Joelinton, he is out. That is also confirmed. With Bayern Munich squad, you can see Upamecano has travelled, so he's not orange flagged or anything, and he's a potential starter against PSV Eindhoven. And these are the predicted lineups according to TZ München. So for Bayern, they're expecting Manuel Neuer, Davis, Tah, Upamecano, and Bischoff, Pavlovic, Kimmich and Karl, Diaz, Kane, and Elise. And for the home side, they expect Kovar, Schutten, Obispo, Mauro Jr. and Dest, Fernandes, Veerman, and Wana, Man, Till, and Perisic. We're going to find out very soon. And for Barcelona, their squad doesn't really contain too many surprises there. But yeah, of course, Yamal is back from suspension. That's the big news for the Catalans. And for Borussia Dortmund, these were updates provided by their manager, Niko Kovac. Sabitzer and Sula won't be able to play. Otherwise, Sali isn't registered. Daniel is suspended. Will be decimated tomorrow in terms of the number of players, but we'll have a good team. With Arsenal, both Timber and Saliba are ruled out and they're given a rest. So Arteta said they have some niggles and it's a good opportunity now that we make a different kind of work with them to get them in the best possible condition for the weekend. And that boosts the appeal of the likes of Ben White in UCL Fantasy. So Arne Slot said this on Joe Gomez. He is not available for tomorrow. So we could see something slightly different there for Liverpool to partner Virgil van Dijk. And for Atletico and Bodo Glimt, we can see a predicted lineup according to Marca. They think Seinof, who is in decent form right now, will start alongside Julian Alvarez. And not many surprises elsewhere. Nico Gonzalez as the left back, Oblak in goal, Hanko, Bubil and Lorente. I think some people will be interested in one or two Atletico players, and my favourite will be Julian Alvarez without a shadow of a doubt. And I will go back to lineup talk and stuff like that, but that's all the information I have thus far, the kind of key bits of information that have provided more updates since the recordings yesterday, the triple upload for UCL Fantasy. Up next is going to be my team selection graphics with some updates, especially with Upamecano, who is not orange flagged, so he is available and he has travelled with Bayern Munich. This is my Matchday 7 review, which I won't really go over because that was done yesterday in the team selection, but just to kind of summarise, yeah, Gusto was my only decent defender, Pacho's not too shabby with 4 points, Fermi Lopez carried my midfield, Saka got an assist, and both my forwards returned, but everyone else was a massive disappointment in UCL Fantasy, but I still got a green arrow according to the UCL Fantasy app. It was another -4 hit taken, and it might be another one going into Matchday 8. Gabriel to Van Dijk is a possibility, but not set in stone, and the same goes for Saka to Vinicius. I'm quite open to selling both of them if they are benched. Upamecano to Koundé is less likely now, and it looks like the French Bayern Munich centre-back will start against PSV, and that's going to be confirmed in the next 10 minutes. Now, the alternative moves could also include Saka to Martinelli instead of going to Vinicius Jr., and what that allows me to do is buy back Erling Haaland for Guirassy, and I would only do this for a hit if Guirassy is benched, and of course, if Erling Haaland starts against Galatasaray. But my provisional team selection without the lineups is going to be Karnaseci in goal, because I don't think Raya will start. Bacho, Van Dijk and Upamecano, but that could well change, especially with Van Dijk. Rafinha, Fermi Lopez, Vinicius and Yildiz with Kane, Mbappe and Guirassy. And your bench players will not feature. They are not important here for UCL Fantasy. For Matchday 8 anyway, that will be a factor, of course, between Matchdays 9 to 16. And once we get to the Champions League final towards the end of the season, then it will be the same case as now. Only one captain and the starting 11 is all that's needed. And that's why the Limitless loses some of its potency in Matchday 8. And my recommendation since the beginning of the season was to use it between Matchdays 2 to 7. I think that's the best window for the Limitless. If you still have it now, I'd probably still use it, especially if you're in a situation with many flags, suspensions and problems in your team. And you might also have a lot of rotation risk players like Gabriel Magalhaes. So next up is going to be the sort of stats and odds and things like that. So the highest scoring players in each position you can see here. For goalkeepers, defenders, this was all covered in some of my recent videos, midfielders, and also forwards. But Vinicius Jr. was the highest scoring player for Matchday 7, delivering 20 points overall. And ultimately, a lot of these rankings are dominated by midfielders. And with the clean sheet odds, Arsenal are top, as referenced earlier in this stream. Liverpool are second, with Barcelona, Man City, Atletico, and also Bayer Leverkusen in the top 6. All of them have a home fixture. And in last spot, technically joint last, is Karabag with a 10% chance of keeping a clean sheet alongside the likes of Kara Almaty and I think Copenhagen as well. So someone asked me which players are worth taking a -4 hit for. And these would be some of the names, including Mbappe, Harry Kane if he starts, and Erling Haaland. I've also got Yamal and Rafinha in the top 5. Ousmane Dembele, Salah, Vinicius, Martinelli, and Alvarez complete the top 10. I think some of these players are worth the -4 here. I know some of you might be surprised by Gabriel Martinelli. I haven't recommended him once in FPL this season, but when it comes to the Champions League, he has 5 goals in this competition, and he's only blanked once, and that was against Inter Milan as a substitute. He also scored a hat-trick in the FA Cup against Portsmouth only a couple of weeks ago. So I'm also going to delve into some fixtures and things like that. So the Champions League table can be seen on screen, and it's very tight in certain areas. The top 8 will qualify directly to the round of 16, and those between 9th and 24th will feature in the knockout playoff rounds in match days 9 and 10. The team of the week includes some very promising players. Luis Suarez is in incredible form right now. He scored a brace against Paris last time out, and you've got the likes of Solakis in goal, who was incredible in UCL Fantasy, 11 points in match day 7. Van Dijk has been brilliant all season with 2 Player of the Match awards when it comes to the Champions League. Pedro Porro and Van de Ven are ruled out by Thomas Frank, so those are massive blows for Tottenham Hotspur. And Fermin Lopez has been an absolute hero for me in the Champions League, so it's good to see him once again in the team of the week. Mbappe is the top scorer with 11 goals in his Champions League campaign. Kane is second with 7. Gordon, Haaland and Osimhen have 6, whilst Barnes, Fermin Lopez and Martinelli share 5 goals apiece. And these are the total points for each position: goalkeepers, defenders. So Vicario is the new leading shot stopper. Nuno Mendes remains in top spot for defenders. And Anthony Gordon is the highest scoring midfielder, which is incredible. And Mbappe is still number 1 across all positions with 67 points in UCL Fantasy. So, as you can see, Lewandowski has also entered legendary status in the Champions League, and he already was in that sort of bracket. And these are the fixtures all taking place at 9 p.m. Central Europe time, and in the UK it will be at 8 p.m. So in just over an hour's time, and in 5 minutes, give or take, we should get the lineups for every single team. 18 matches, 36 teams, all happening in one go. And it's not the first rodeo, because this was also covered at this time last year when this new format was introduced. So let's do it one more time and enjoy the process here. It should be a lot of fun. I'm now going to go back to my UCL Fantasy team, and I'm going to wait for the lineups first, then we'll go to that, and following the surprises, the shocks and all of that stuff, I will go to updated Limitless and Wildcard squads. I think that's the best thing to do, because a lot could change from now until the deadline, essentially, especially for the next 10 minutes. Paredes says, yeah, got you. That's what I meant. Matchday 9, Wildcard, Matchday 11. Yeah, so it's good that people are aware of it. You get unlimited transfers for both those match days, and that makes the whole process a bit more bearable, you could say. Which matches are you targeting today? I would like to target Arsenal. Unfortunately, I've got 2 of their players already, and I think both of them will be benched, but that'd be a great opportunity. I think Barcelona against Copenhagen would be another. Possibly 1 or 2 Liverpool assets against Qarabag, but I think the away side are fairly decent, so that isn't a give me, let's say. It's not like a absolute guaranteed win, or for Liverpool to win comprehensively, in my opinion. But those are some examples. I think Bayern against PSV, if you got Kane and Elise, you definitely start, but with their defenders, I'm not that convinced, and I mainly bought up a Mancano for matchday 7, and that was unfortunately not the right call. Rafinha, Yamal or Vinicius? For this match day, it's going to be Yamal. All good, Ernesto. Hopefully you're doing well too. All good here, Reese, as well. And hopefully you are enjoying the ride. I've got no chips available. If I did, I'd be using it this week. Thank you, Twisted Parky. As he says, smash the like. It costs nothing and it supports the channel greatly. And there's a lot of content headed your way for UCL Fantasy and FPL for the rest of the season. So let's keep things going. Lewis Skelly for an attacking option and cheap player to have. I don't really see him as an attacking option per se, but I get what you're saying. In UCL Fantasy last season, he was quite promising with a few assists. There was one against PSV Eindhoven in the away game, actually, when Arsenal scored 7. But yeah, I think with Arsenal, the best ball recoverer that I think could start is Hincapié. The one I've been backing recently is Ben White, just because I'm very confident he will start. So the lineups are on, Ben White starts. I'll have a look then, because if some of the lineups are out now, I can go through that and we can analyze things as we go. It also gives us more time to process the information and then make our final decision. So yeah, let me have a look at the Champions League website. Thank you for that update. So I don't think all of them are out. Maybe with the Arsenal one, it was on Twitter. But yeah, I'm just going to probably wait for all of them to come out at the same time. Let's see. So yeah, I think it's just better to wait now. Is Arda Güler a keep? If he starts, I'd lean towards yes, and it is a very team-dependent question because if you're happy with the rest of your squad, then Arda Güler to Fermi Lopez could be a solid move and quite promising on paper, but yeah, it's very team-dependent there. And if I had Arda Güler, just speaking from my point of view, I'd keep him, assuming that he starts. Samira says, White likely to play 90 minutes, while Hincapié, Lewis Kelly probably get a sub on the left side. But that can go one of both ways, right? If they get subbed off around 60 minutes and they get the additional appearance point and the clean sheet locked in, and then Arsenal concede late on, it's a double-edged sword, and then Ben White loses it. So it can go against you sometimes having a player who's more nailed on, at least for a specific match day. But yeah, Ben White is only a match day 8 punt, nothing more than that. Yeah, Paredes, like I said, all the lineups are going to be confirmed in, well, now. Within the next 5 minutes, they should be out. So Madrid's lineup is out. Kuka says all the lineups are out. Yeah, I'll have a look again. It's just when I checked a few seconds ago, it wasn't the case. Yeah, top 3 captains was just talked about, Roberto. So assuming they all start, kind of the big 3 up front. So Mbappe, Kane, and Erling Haaland. Yamal isn't too far behind. Yeah, thanks by the way, for bringing this to my attention. For some reason, the timer bugged out and froze. So yeah, the timer below me is now accurate. We've got 1 hour, 40 minutes left until the deadline. So a big up there to Samira for pointing that out. I don't think Raya will play, but let me just go through that. P4 Yulo says Gabriel benched and so is Saka. Exactly what I expected, and it makes sense. It's the right call from Arteta. Osman against City, not for me. No Rodri or Nico in the C midfield. Look, Galatasaray could score a goal or two. I went for 2-1 City, but yeah, I think there are better forwards elsewhere. And thank you as well to Ernesto for pointing this out. Much appreciated. So the lineups are out already. Thank you, Dylan. You probably recognize my name from your FPL live streams. Yes, I do. Good night, Dylan. I'll wake up 2 hours later. No worries. Enjoy yourself. Rafinha, Yamal, Vinicius was covered. I said Yamal. 36 screens, English and Spanish commentary. Yeah, thanks. I should have said that as a get out of jail free card. So yeah, I'm going to go through this now, hopefully. Let's go to UEFA.com and see the lineups here. So I'm going to refresh. Is this confirmed? Matchday 7? No. It still says possible lineups. I think it might be best to go to Flash Score then. I might do that. Let's go to Flash Score. Okay, so we'll start off with Ajax Olympiacos. Yeah, maybe, let's see if maybe I could use SofaScore. It says predicted lineups here though. So I don't think all of them are out at the same time. Only some. So yeah, that's gonna not be ideal, to be fair. Might be worth waiting a little bit longer. But yeah, this is my UCL Fantasy League. Be sure to join. I'm going to find a way to have all the lineups out and ready for you. But at the moment, it's a little bit awkward. So let's see if I can get that. So Arsenal's is confirmed on SofaScore. Let's see. Yeah, I think Ajax, for example, was not confirmed. Okay, I'll use SofaScore then, and then go through the confirmed ones with you. So let's do that. Arsenal Karat is first. So Kepa in goal. White, Mosquera, Calafiori, Lewis Kelly, Eze, Norgard, and Havertz, Madueke, Gyökeres, and Martinelli. So kind of what I expected. Maybe Havertz is a slight surprise. And Calafiori is a massive boost for the Gunners. He is much needed. And you can see Karat and Mati's team on screen as well. Their goalkeeper has been in great form recently. Let's see. This is still possible. Atletico's is possible. Let's see Barcelona. Yeah, also possible. So as you can see, only a few of them have been confirmed. I think Madrid have released theirs, but it's not reflected on SofaScore just yet. So yeah, it's a bit of a madness, this one. I think it was a bit smoother last year when I covered all of them, but yeah, it's still a wait in progress with a lot of these. PSG, Newcastle, still waiting. It says possible. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Only Arsenal's seem to be confirmed right now. So I think what I'm going to do is check individually on Twitter for the main lineups and do it that way until we can get official confirmation. So Real Madrid's was posted like 20 minutes ago. So I'll go through that now. So Courtois, Carreras, who is back from suspension, Howson, Asensio, Valverde, Bellingham, Tchouaméni, Arda Güler, Vinicius, Mbappe, and Mastantuono. And some reports from yesterday already pointed towards the Argentine starting once again. So that is Madrid's official lineup. I won't really go through that after because it's being done now. So yeah, let's see if I can get anything else. Maybe Bayern Munich. That would be quite handy. Let's see if I can get Bayern here. Don't think I've got them yet. So yeah, still a wait and see. Probably in 10 minutes then is when we should get every single one, and that's when we can just go through it and not really have any issues. But if you do see anything else, let me know. Any other lineups that we can go through. But so far, only Arsenal and Real Madrid have been confirmed, or at least the ones I've seen. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a madness. Best defender for 4.8. I'd say Ben White is up there. I do like him. I think any Arsenal defender starting in Matchday 8, I think would be very interesting. Let me just go back to the UCL Fantasy website. And yeah, I've got some surgery to do because Gabriel and Saka are benched as expected. Assuming that the rest of my starting 11 play, it's not too bad. I can just sell those Arsenal players and even go to Ben White. I think that would be an option for me, or any Arsenal option. Are you more objective stats based on player picks, or do you also use human factor instinct? Some teams are in do or die this match day. I use a mixture of both. I don't have like one set way of doing things. The same goes for fixture versus form. I have said before that I lean more towards form, but I use a combination of both when analysing the long-term projections of certain players. I have Kane, Haaland and Alvarez. Should I get Mbappe? Only if one of Kane or Haaland is benched. Otherwise, as good as Mbappe is, you could use a transfer elsewhere, but it's a very team-dependent question. Yeah, I think if Elise starts, he's fine. He's worth keeping against PSV, but yeah, I can't really tell you for sure because I don't know Bayern's lineup right now. Captaincy is a bit awkward this week. Would you prefer Mbappe over Rafinha, and why? Yes, I would, because Rafinha hasn't produced a single goal contribution in the Champions League this season, whilst Mbappe has 11 goals for the campaign. I think there's a massive difference. If it was last year, then I would be in the Rafinha camp all day long, but I think things are a bit different now. Twisted Parky says 17.8k in UCL. What's this about? Oh, yeah, the rank, sorry, 2.3 million in FPL. Yeah, great rank for UCL. With FPL, it's a bit disappointing, but that could easily change and you can enter the top million in the next couple of weeks. I'm telling you that now. Yeah, Limitless lineup, I'll try to save for later because I could tell you all these players now and then they're benched and I don't know the lineups yet. But I'm trying my best to get that information. Yeah, from those players you said, I would bring in Yamal as a one-week punt. With this one as well, Aliar, I've covered it a few times at this point. Good to see you, Ignacio. I also replied to your email. Thank you very much for all the support. UCL Fantasy more relaxed, FPL more stress. It depends. When you're doing well, it's easier to enjoy the ride, but it's not always like that. Well, I thought we would have had it by now, to be honest, John, but it's not really the case. ¿Contemplas usar la Wildcard esta fecha? Yo no tengo el Wildcard y tampoco tengo el Limitless, pero creo que sí. El comodín sería bueno usar ahora. Puedes ir por jugadores bastante baratos en tu banco y poner todo tu dinero en el 11 inicial. Eso te va a ayudar mucho y puedes competir con los que usan el sin límites en la jornada 8 haciendo eso. No entiendo bien el formato Champions, pero entiendo que Arsenal y Bayern Múnich ya están clasificados. Sí, así que en la jornada 9 y 10 ellos no van a jugar, porque eso van a ser los playoffs. Así que Arsenal y Bayern Múnich van a jugar, ya están garantizado, un lugar en la ronda de 16 para la jornada 11. Así que todo va a ser muy claro después de hoy, pero ahora solo tienes que enfocar en lo que está ahora, en la jornada 8, y después tienes transferencias sin límites para la jornada 9 y 11, y ahí no necesitas usar el comodín o sin límites. Differential ways to recruit a 30-point deficit in 1 week in a group stage mini league. Well, it's possible, but that is a massive swing, of course, for one match day only. I think differential ways would be going for fringe Arsenal players who are starting today. So Martinelli, Madueke, Ben White, maybe even doubling or tripling up on the defense. I think that would be one area or suggestion for you. And just looking at the fixtures, Barcelona would be another example I highlighted earlier against Copenhagen, going for 2 or 3 Catalan options. And then you're looking at possibly Liverpool, but I think that's a bit riskier against Karabakh personally. Is Ekitike a punt for this week? Yes, but once again, I'll have to wait for the lineups to confirm that. I think Fermi Lopez is a better captain than Mbappe. Fair enough. I wouldn't mind if Fermi Lopez did the business again, but yeah, I'm still backing Mbappe right now. Glad I risked Gusto last game. Same here, and he was a quiet saviour in my UCL fantasy team last week. Should I go more for clean sheets or goals? Is this for defenders? I think, generally speaking, you look at clean sheets and ball recoveries, and that's why I think an Arsenal defender would be quite appealing. And even Van Dijk has been quite solid this season in the Champions League. But I think with defenders, Hakimi could be of interest, and it looks like he's going to start against Newcastle. Another one is Grimaldo against Villarreal at home. Yes, I would definitely start Dembele. Limitless now or later. I'd use it now, but I think the potency of that chip has been removed. But yeah, I'm going to go for the lineups. Kane is benched. I did say that yesterday, by the way, and now I changed my mind a little bit, and yeah, Kane is out. Elise also benched. Not a big surprise there, I guess, but not great for our UCL fantasy teams. A lot of rotation and a lot to get through. So hopefully I can go to one page that shows every single 11. So let's see. I don't think it's confirmed yet on the UEFA website. Yeah, so I'm just going to use SofaScore Flash Score. I think that's the best thing to do at this point. Okay. So we can see Ajax and Olympiacos here. And I'll be honest, I have no options from either team. Zolakis was the highest scoring goalkeeper last time out in Matchday 7. He starts once again. And that's pretty much what you would expect from both sides. With Arsenal, I covered them earlier. And both Saka and Gabriel are benched as expected. I think it's worth targeting fringe players here. Probably not Calafiori, because he just came back from injury. I think his minutes will be managed, but one of White, Mosquera, or Lewis Skelly would be promising. I think Kepa's the best goalkeeper on paper for Matchday 8. And I think offensively, there are a few interesting options. Gyökeres up front, Madueke, Eze, Martinelli. My favourite would be the Brazilian. So moving on to Monaco and Juventus. Hopefully Yildiz starts. And he doesn't. Oh my dear. Yeah, this is not looking good. This is a horrendous match day already, and it hasn't even begun. So a lot to get through. I might even take some hits here. I think those are the Wildcard and Limitless are in a great position for match day 8, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, Yildiz is benched. That's something else worth highlighting there. I'll be focusing on the UCL Fantasy kind of big news here. So next up will be Athletic versus Sporting. Luis Suarez is a very intriguing option at 5 million. He's in incredible form right now. And yeah, looking at the other options, I think he's the one to go for in this fixture. But another notable benching is Francisco Trincao, right? No, he's right down the left, like an idiot. Pedro Gonçalves is still injured, it looks like. So yeah, or he's not in the starting 11 anyway. I think he was injured recently. So yeah, he's not starting this game. But yeah, those two would be the most interesting, but Luis Suarez is my favourite. So for Atletico against Bodo Glimt, I did show you one predicted lineup earlier from Marca, and I think it's pretty much the same here. maybe there's one change. I think Jimenez starts and then Hanko left back, and that pushes Gonzalez a bit further forward. The rest does look very similar. So for Barcelona against Copenhagen, Rafinha starts, thank the Lord. Yamal is also there. Fermin Lopez is playing in a deeper position potentially. But yeah, it's good. A lot of the key UCL fantasy options for Barca start. Let's look at Leverkusen. The best option here is going to be Grimaldo. He's the only one I'd recommend highly. But there are always a few punts worth monitoring and plenty of surprises in store for the Champions League. I went through Real Madrid's lineup earlier, so I'll focus a bit more on Benfica here. So Pavlidis starts up front. He was brilliant last season. And Sudakov was talked about quite a lot going into Matchday 1 as a budget option. But yeah, no real surprises there from Benfica. And with Real Madrid there, most of the key assets also start. So let's see Dortmund and Inter Milan. So Calhanoglu is still injured. And Sky Sports Italia, well, they got most of it right, but Lautaro Martinez is on the bench. So I think that's the key change. With Borussia Dortmund, Ben Sebaini does start. I sold him recently. And thankfully, Guirassy does start, so I don't need to sell him. But Yildiz is another player on the chopping block. So that's why this is so important to wait until the lineups and get this information. But yeah, thanks to those that pointed out that the lineups are finally confirmed. Unfortunately, I just couldn't see them on one page before. So with Marseille, Greenwood is starting. Aubameyang's on the bench. He was brilliant. Of course, one of the top assisters of the Champions League this season. And Wanyeri is also on the bench. He scored on his Marseille debut last time out. And that's pretty much it, I think. With Club Brugge, they've got a few interesting options like Vanaken. And even Vermaat up front, who returned last time out against Kara Almaty. So Tottenham have two key injuries in their defensive line, to Pedro Porro and Van de Ven. So both Udogie and Spence start at fullback. Romero has goals in 3 consecutive games for Tottenham. So that's interesting. And I think when you're looking at Frankfurt, they are missing Burkhardt, who was looking very promising at the beginning of the season. Let's look at Liverpool now. Salah does start. The same goes for Van Dijk. And it looks like Gravenberch could play in central defence with Szoboszlai and McAllister as the holding midfielders. Wirtz in the middle, Gakpo on the left, and Ekitike up front. And this could be Robertson's final start. I do believe his move to Tottenham collapsed, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that is the lineup there for both Qarabag and Liverpool. Let's see Man City. Erling Haaland does start. So yeah, I don't have him anyway, but that could be an interesting option. Cherki also gets the nod. No Phil Foden once again. Nico Riley at 4 million gets a start. And 8 Nuri has another appearance in the lineup once again. That's back-to-back games for him. So yeah, not too many surprises. I think with Foden, you maybe would have anticipated a start there, but that could be safe for the Premier League. Let's look at Napoli against Chelsea. And Gusto is getting more traction in the Champions League. A good 8-pointer last time out. Cole Palmer is not in the lineup, but Enzo Fernandez, Neto, Joao Pedro will be the more offensive players. And we could even see a different formation. I'm not so sure if it will be a 3-4-2-1 as it suggests here. I don't think it will be the case actually. But yeah, Chelsea's lineup is all confirmed. McTominay is by far Napoli's best asset when it comes to this game. And let's see. There's also Paphos against Slavia Prague. And they've actually got some good options here, especially Lucasen, who is in the top 5 high-scoring defenders of the season. He is the pick of the bunch, that's for sure. For PSG against Newcastle, Hakimi does return to the lineup. Nuno Mendes is also in the starting 11 after missing out over the weekend. He was given a rest. Pacho, who's in my team, gets the nod. Dembele, Barcola and Kvaratskhelia up front, so Doué is on the bench. Vitinha, João Neves, that's another big return there for the Parisians. And for Newcastle, no Bruno Guimaraes, which is a massive blow there for the Toonami. But Dan Burn does return to the starting 11. He's in my team, but I don't want to start him against PSG. And for Bayern Munich, this is where we got some tragic news in UCL Fantasy. But Upamecano does start, so I don't need to change my defensive line necessarily. even though it doesn't look great, I could focus on my attack here and sell Yildiz and Saka. That's what I'm probably going to do. And if I want to take a -4 here, that's where an Arsenal defender could come into play. But Kane and Elise are on the bench. Carl gets a start. The same goes for Musiala, which I also predicted from my team selection video yesterday. And Luis Diaz is also in this team. The final squads to go through are USG, so Union Saint-Gilloise and Atalanta. And Lookman is in that lineup. He was brilliant last season. Carnesecchi, though, is not starting. Ah, great. So I'm down to 10 men, unless I take a hit for a goalkeeper. Oh, dear. Yeah, welcome to UCL Fantasy, lads. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Carnesecchi and Raya, two of the highest scoring goalkeepers in the game this season, are both on the bench. So quite a lot there to take in. I did sum up most of the key UCL Fantasy absentees, those returning from suspension, injury, AFCON, etc. And yeah, it's a very comprehensive section, and this might need a bit more processing and going over one more time. But yeah, as you can see, it's not looking too good for some of our teams. The Limitless or Wildcard would be well used in a week like this, that's for sure. So let's go back to my squad, and very soon I'll provide updated Limitless and Wildcard teams for you with all the information as well. So just having a look here at some different bits and bobs, but yeah, that is very telling. Very telling. I'll go through the recent questions and comments and see what you lot are saying. We've got over 1,000 people watching. Let's get the likes up. The aim will be to get this to over 300 likes by the end of the stream. I'm going to answer hundreds of questions in general and just keep on going through things as well, as I usually do. And yeah, there's a lot more to get through, and it's going to be absolutely insane. Now I have to take a hit. Kane and Elise benched. Yeah, that's where Haaland could come in. I think Haaland could also be bought back. I sold him last week for a hit. Yeah, Gordon is out as well, that's true. The highest scoring midfielder in UCL Fantasy this season. Noni, Eze, Martinelli. Yeah, from those players, Martinelli is my favourite, which I talked about before. With Rafinha, I mean, he has been disappointing this season, but for me, Yamal is the midfielder to buy. I think you can't go wrong with any Barca midfielder. I've personally got two of them right now, but Yamal is my favourite. Yeah, Aaron, you saw my reaction. Let me know what you think, but yeah, Carnesecchi being benched is the last thing I needed. Because I was thinking, okay, not too bad. Two free transfers. I've got a starting 11. But no, both my goalkeepers are benched. What can you say? Well, Carl is a very promising player. Bayern Munich have already secured their top 2 spot, essentially. So they can afford to rotate. They just lost in the Bundesliga. And they want to get back to winning ways in that competition as well. Okay, that's weird. There we go. Yeah, I'll go for the Limitless and Wildcard teams soon, no worries. Yeah, no keeper. It is what it is, right? They've done fairly well for me since Matchday 2, but not this time round. There it is. We need a keeper. Yes, we do. We definitely do. Mbappe, Suarez, Mbappe, Alvarez, Mbappe, Guirassy. Basically, your question is Suarez, Alvarez, or Guirassy. Probably Alvarez. I do like Suarez a lot, though. I think he's a very good option and an enabler facilitator, offering great value. Who do I choose as my captain, Mbappe, Yamal, or Dembele? My favourite is Mbappe, but if you want to go a little bit different, Yamal is my recommendation. Yeah, not a -12 for me, but look, some people will be very tempted to take massive hits. I try to avoid that if possible. Not quite as monumental as the Club World Cup early deadline fiasco. That was epic. Yes, and that was so long ago now, back in June. Let's not talk about that, but it won't happen here. I can almost assure you that. We've never had that before. Let's not jinx it. Hey Dylan, best captain for the match day. Mbappe is the sort of typical safe answer. I've got, well, you can figure out Kane now. I'd say Haaland, Yamal, Rafinha would complete the rest of the top 4. What about Liverpool? I think Van Dijk, Salah and Szoboszlai are the best options, which was also covered in my Wildcard and Limitless videos. I'm going to have to use my Limitless right now. That's not really a bad thing. With the Limitless, I think you lose a bit of its potency because you can't have expensive players on the bench and bring them on, and also have a great captaincy option on the Tuesday and then one on the Wednesday. You just have one shot at it, but it's still a great time to use it when you look at all the benchings. I think for some people, it's going to be a get out of jail free card. Haaland or Dembele, it's going to be Haaland for me. Yeah, same here, SM. It's probably worth a hit to get rid of them. And if you can lock in that clean sheet, you can at least secure some points there. 2 points from that goalkeeper transfer. And if that also includes, let's say, Kane to Haaland, and you get a goal, it's not a bad set of moves, but it's far from ideal. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I think in this case, a hit is probably worthwhile. Martinelli and Lewandowski or Yamal and Ekitike? Very close, actually, but I'm going to say Yamal and Ekitike just about. I like Szoboszlai, but he could play in a deeper role today with Gravenberch playing as a centre-back, so I'm going to say Martinelli. Get Mbappe for a -8 or pray that Aubameyang gets subbed on? I'd get Mbappe. Yeah. I'm going to go through the member questions. Yeah, another key benching, which was pointed out here, if I can get... yes, I agree. Alvarez is a good shout to replace Kane. He's in my top 10 captaincy list for a reason. Szoboszlai is a good pick. Yes. Out of these two defenders, I would start Bubil. Suarez is a gem tonight, that's for sure. PSG do look strong. They've got 2 key players returning from injury. What was the message here? But someone pointed out Igor Paxao is benched. That is definitely worth noting, alongside Aubameyang. Juan says 8 players benched. Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It really is crazy. Yeah, Musiala starts. I'm not sure if I'd go for him. Quality player, but he hasn't had that many minutes since returning from injury. For me, the best goalkeeper is Kepa. And if I were to make a move, I might go for him in the end. Fermin Lopez or Szoboszlai? Fermin Lopez. Salah and Lewandowski or Yamal and forward for 10.9. I'd go for Yamal and a 10.9 million forward. So that could be Haaland in that case. Let's see. Thank you to Oogie Boogie. Start Carl or Elise anyway. I'd start Carl because he's in the lineup. But Elise is the type of player who could return off the bench, but I think his minutes will be reduced. I'd only see him being brought on if Bayern Munich are losing. So game stay will be pivotal. Yeah, Ivan, as covered earlier, I like both, but Fermin Lopez is the preference. Best 8 million midfielder. I'd say Martinelli is up there this week. I'm very bullish on him. Richard Millichip says, hey Dylan, who would you play out of Bensabani and Buongiorno? Probably Bensabani, and he could be on penalties, which is one of the main reasons why I had him in my UCL fantasy team. I like both, but Yamal's my preference. Ben White or Martinelli? Martinelli, higher ceiling. The thing is, at least I was more open or more likely to get Ben White or an Arsenal defender based on my circumstances, and now I'll probably settle for Kepa because I'm down to 10. Yeah, best captain, I'll go for that again, but you know my feelings by now. Mbappe's my #1 pick, and to go for something a little bit different per se, I would probably suggest the likes of Yamal. And I think Haaland could also enter the equation. I back him to return to goal-scoring ways, so that could definitely happen. Okay, so just, yeah, there's a lot more to get through. We've got 48 minutes until the deadline. This is going to be very hectic, to say the least. Dembele, Lewandowski, or Luis Suarez? I'd lean towards Dembele, but I think all of them are brilliant options. Luis Suarez offers insane value at 5 million, and on a wildcard, for example, I think he'd be in my team. I think that would be really good. Gyökeres is a good shout. My favourite Arsenal attacker, though, is Martinelli. I think we've seen real consistency from him in the Champions League so far. So, yeah. Who to get in? Hakimi, Grimaldo, Rafinha, or Vinicius? I think for this week it's going to be Rafinha, but it's a very team-dependent question because I don't know who you're selling to get these players in. Defensively, I prefer Grimaldo over Hakimi, but both of them offer attacking threat. I just think Hakimi has a tougher fixture against Newcastle compared to Grimaldo up against Villarreal at home. Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Jude, Martinelli, or who's the best mid? 9.1 million budget. It's not biased, I'm just saying my opinion. I think Martinelli. I'm really bullish on him, facing Kara Almaty. Please remind us next season about how bad Matchday 8 is with the benchings. I'll try to do that. It's not always like this, or at least to the same level, and we're ultimately influenced by our personal experiences, but yeah, it's quite bad. I'm not going to lie. For a lot of us, we've got multiple players benched, and it's just far from ideal. Yamal Mbappe, I mean, I've been very clear about this. Mbappe for me, but Yamal is in my top 4 for the captains. We can ignore Harry Kane there. Paredes says Alisson. I'm not sure what you're doing there. I'm going to say Kepa for me. Best goalkeeper for Matchday 8. So Nehal says number 1, Kane, Elise, Koundé to Mbappe, Yamal, White for a -4. Looks really good. Lewandowski, Kane, Elise to Mbappe, Alvarez, Yamal. -4. Which one is better? I'd rather go for number 1. You're getting rid of 2 players who are benched. I mean, both scenarios to be fair, but I don't think Lewandowski's a sell. The thing is, why sell Koundé to White for a hit? I don't think you need to do that. So my answer is just do Kane and Elise to Mbappe and Yamal. I'd keep it fairly simple there. It's not worth the -4 hit for me. Mbappe for captain. I don't know how clear I can be about Mbappe captain. If you want to go different, Martinelli is a great option, but he is 9th in my overall list, probably up to 8th now following the Kane benching. Haribo says, of all the benchings, I can either get Kepa or Martinelli, not both. How many Arsenal? Too many Arsenal, sorry. What would you recommend as the second best goalkeeper or second best mid? Yeah, great question. I think for goalkeepers, I would look at Joan Garcia, Alisson, which Paredes mentioned. I think with clean sheets, it's quite difficult to predict this week, but I'm very confident in Arsenal, despite their recent failings defensively. So I think with goalkeepers, I'd probably say Alisson. That's my current thinking. I wouldn't go for the Leverkusen goalkeeper. Grimaldo's the only defensive coverage I'd go for in terms of Leverkusen. I think it's worth going to the clean sheet odds for that. With the second best midfielder, it depends on what price we're talking about, but Fermin Lopez would be brilliant. And if you can afford someone more expensive, Yamal is my overall recommendation, even over Martinelli. So if you can do Yamal and Kepa, that'd be my ultimate recommendation to you, Haribo. Raya and Elise and Kane to Kepa, Vinicius, Mbappe -4 worth it. Yes, it is worth it. And instead of Vinicius, you might want to consider Yamal or Rafinha, but looks good to me, definitely. Best forward for this match day, apart from Mbappe, I would say either Haaland, Dembele, Luis Suarez, or Gyökeres. That's my sort of top 5 at the moment, and there are plenty more where that came from. I think Alvarez also enters that equation. He has been a bit underwhelming recently, only 6 points here and there over the last couple of match days, but yeah, I still think Alvarez is a great option. Okay, so still having a look. I'm going to try and make transfers soon so I can focus on the questions and also go for the updated Limitless and Wildcard squads. There's plenty more to talk about. Best striker under 9 million. Under 9 million, I would say Luis Suarez would be up there. I'm very bullish on him. Yeah, and I mentioned a few options just now. Most of them are over 9, like Alvarez, but yeah, Suarez would definitely spring to mind. Olmo or Fermin Lopez? Fermin Lopez. Yeah, that's fair enough. And I did say I prefer Alisson, but I will go back to the clean sheet odds and then highlight. Donnarumma would be another one. I talked about this in my Limitless, going for both Kepa and Donnarumma. So, let's see. Let's go to the clean sheet odds now, and let's answer this question with the clean sheets. So here you go. Arsenal, Liverpool, Barcelona, Man City, Atletico, and Leverkusen. I think what I'd probably do is favour Donnarumma and Oblak over Joan Garcia. So I think that's a good shout. But Kepa's my overall favourite when it comes to getting a goalkeeper in, or even targeting defenders like Ben White, Lewis Skelly, and Mosquera. Probably more so than Calafiori at this point. So just got to get some things done here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so most of the sort of UCL Fantasy key benchings and stuff have all been highlighted. And some of you in the chat have also pointed out some that I missed. So a big thank you to everyone. Drop a like, subscribe, hit the hype button, share, all that good stuff. It would be massively appreciated. So let's see. Just I'll bear with me for a second. I will be with you shortly. Just getting some things done here. Okay. So very soon I'm going to go through the Limitless and Wildcard squads and then start locking in my team and then just answer all your questions. That's for sure. Be sure to join my Discord server as well, and you can get a lot of updates there. And let's see. I mean, I was asked about strikers under 9 million. Gyökeres is just above that threshold. He is 9. A massive differential, though. But, yeah, 6% ownership. Yeah, still. I think Luis Suarez would be the one there. Okay. Let's go through just a few more questions here. But yeah, like I said, I'm in the middle of a few things here, so apologies. Okay, so there's super chat here by Ahmad. Good to see you as always. Crazy gimmick indeed. Ruled me into a minus 16 hit. That's insane. Kepa, Mendes, Ben White, Luis Skelly, Kanji, Kunde, Yamal, Fermi Lopez, Haaland, Mbappe, Alvarez. I mean, the team itself looks good, but yeah, you just took a minus 16 hit, and Akanji's my only concern. The rest looks really good, and it could compete with Limitless and Wildcard squads, but albeit with a minus 16 handicap in the process. So hopefully it goes well for you, mate, and I wouldn't take another hit, just to be very clear. Also, thank you to C98AN, Haaland or Alvarez. I like Alvarez a lot, but I'm going to go for Haaland, and he's also ranked highly in my Campsy list. He is second now, over Harry Kane. Musiala or Vinny? I do like Musiala a lot, but I'm going to pick Vinicius Jr. He's shown good form recently, and not many goal contributions except for Matchday 7, of course, when you're looking at other competitions. But yeah, Vinicius would be the one for me, and I talked about him a lot in my video. Now, one thing I could also do is buy Yamal and triple up on the Barca midfield, but I think it's probably overkill, or it does cause an imbalance. So if I were to buy a midfielder now, I think Vinicius is the one I'm going to go for. So watch this space. That will be confirmed fairly soon. But yeah, people asking about captaincy as well. What I'm going to do now is show you the top 10 list and leave that on for a while. And I'm just going to get something done very quickly and then go to the best Limitless and wildcard squads. But yeah, ignore Harry Kane. He's on the bench. Alvarez, Martinelli, Vinicius, Salah, Dembele, Rafinha, Yamal, Haaland, and Mbappe. That is the top 10. If I were to include somebody else in this list, I think that's quite interesting. Number 10, probably not a defender. I'd be focusing more on the midfield and forward line. But that's where a Gyökeres, a Ekitike, possibly Luis Suarez would also enter the equation. And Fermi Lopez would be another enticing choice, but he could play a deeper role now with Dani Olmo in the starting 11. So, yeah, plenty to mull over. But, yeah, Harry Kane, you can ignore him. Haaland is second in this list, essentially. Yamal is in the top 3. And, yeah, Kane is on the bench. So, Gyökeres I do like, actually, for Matchday 8. So, yeah, let me get this done. Okay. So let me know if you are buying sort of these rogue picks like Musiala, who hasn't really been in the reckoning for quite a while now. Since the Club World Cup, we picked up that serious injury, but he's now back and he's getting some goal contributions even off the bench, and he gets his first Champions League start of the season against PSV Eindhoven. Are you going to go for the German? One of my favorite players at the moment, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. Okay. So, yeah, the top 10 captains and the clean sheet odds are all there. Who would you put now to replace Harry Kane in that list? I'd be very interested to see your thoughts there. But, yeah, quite a lot to process with all the benchings and stuff. And I'm going to try lock in things now, actually. That's going to be in my best interest. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to the transfer section and start building these Limitless and Wildcard teams. Forget both Karnaseci and Raya. They are both benched, so get them out of there for sure. So Karnaseci, I would go for Kepa and Donnarumma. This would be for the Limitless. The Wildcard is very similar. All you would really do is cheap out your bench options. So instead of Donnarumma, go for a 3.8 million goalkeeper like Sherpen, and that's the way you can fund the starting 11, which is the most important. So Dan Burn, Gusto, Gabriel, I mean, all of these would make way. Let's go for Grimaldo, Van Dijk. I wish I could build this team right now, by the way, but I can't. Mosquera's 4.4. I would be interested in him. 4 points against Inter. He's quite good for ball recoveries. I might even get him, you know. I think Mosquera could be decent. I do like Ben White a lot. And I talked about him a lot because I was very confident he would start, but not really the best ball recovery potential, I'd say. Maybe not too far off Mosquera. Lewis Kelly is the other one, 4.7. So I think any of these players could be considered. Who would you pick for the Arsenal defence? I mean, Skelly has a bit more going forward, but yeah, that's interesting. And I don't know what happened here. I think I need to just go back here. Yeah, well, look at this. It's absolutely insane. All these flags coming up. Let's go through them one by one. Wow, that is insane. Kane, Saka, Yildiz, Gabriel, Karnaseci all benched. At least those on my bench are starting, so I could still get an 11 quite easily and not need to take a hit. But yeah, it's a madness, absolute madness right now. So let's get this done here. Limitless, first and foremost. Raya. Yeah, forget Raya. What am I doing? Kepa and Donnarumma. Get rid of all these defenders. I think some of these midfielders could stay, mainly the Barca ones, but I'd probably swap Fermi Lopez with Yamal. Get rid of Kane and Garassi and go for Haaland. And I think on the Limitless, I'd go for either Dembele or Alvarez. Lewandowski's another shout. But yeah, I think Dembele is the one. So then after these two, Vinicius Jr. in the midfield, Martinelli. I think Salah or Szoboszlai. I think going for one of them would be sound. And now it's just about completing the defense for this Limitless team. So Grimaldo, Koundé. I wouldn't go for a Madrid defender personally. And I would go for one Arsenal option. I think Lewis Skelly could make it here. I think he'll be subbed off around 60, 70 minutes. So in terms of the other two defenders, Romero is a decent shout against Frankfurt, but I don't think Tottenham will keep a clean sheet. So, yeah, this is where things get interesting with this defense. I would go for Van Dijk, but I'm just looking at the other option. There's not really too many that stand out. So, yeah, I think with this one, We'll go for something like this for now. And you don't need to start all of them, obviously. You can't make subs. I would probably go for Kepa in goal, double up on the Arsenal defence, and that's where you could even introduce a City defender like Aït-Nouri. That could work, or maybe you want to go for O'Reilly. That could certainly be quite helpful on the wildcard. So that's the way to cover the City defence as well. So yeah, probably a City defender over Romero, and I think Aït-Nouri would be quite interesting, but his minutes are a bit all over the place. Yeah, Kusanov, Ake, Nunes. Maybe a punt on Nunes. 4.4 as well. He has been quite promising in FPL. Yeah, I think with ball recoveries, though, that's why I want to target. Don't think any of the C defenders are particularly great. But, yeah, something like that would work. I'm quite happy with this. Other midfielders to look at would be Fermin Lopez, Szoboszlai. I think Eze would be quite interesting. Up front, you've got Gyökeres, you've got Madueke, Alvarez, Luis Suarez. Francisco Trincao was not too shabby either, so plenty to mull over there. I think defensively it can be quite difficult to pinpoint, but yeah, I would probably go for a back three, start all three forwards, and then 4 midfielders. To leave one on the bench is tough, but that's where Martinelli might have to be sacrificed, despite how bullish I am on him this week. So yeah, on the Limitless, you've got plenty of benching headaches. It'll be a bit easy on the wild card. So I'm going to go for Haaland again, and I'm going to show you how to match the Limitless with all the information we have now. So Haaland, let's go for Luis Suarez. I think Fermin Lopez and Rafinha could work here, but if possible, I will stretch to Yamal. Szoboszlai would be another choice. Martinelli. And then we can go for a budget midfielder, because you don't need to start all of them anyway. So let's see, actually. I'm going back to the wildcard team I built. And I did mention Vitinha. I'm still quite open to something like that. But yeah, I'm going to leave that spot open for now. Let's get rid of all these defenders too, and include an Arsenal option. And obviously get rid of these goalkeepers. They're horrendous because they're not even playing, much to my dismay. So, Koundé, Van Dijk. We can go for Coutinho or Rodney, so just a cheap option. I think Grimaldo, Van Dijk, yeah, let's put them in there. And yeah, the Arsenal option, it could be Skelly, Ben White, they're all fine. Let's put Ben White since I've been very bullish on him. And goalkeepers, I'm going to say Kepa and Sherpen. And that leaves us with 11.3 in the bank. So we've actually got quite a lot of flexibility here. And that's where Salah could be introduced. You can go for Vinicius Jr. So that looks pretty decent. And if we were to do something like this, I think instead of Szoboszlai, because he might play deeper today, that's where with 7.9 million in the bank, yeah, Musiala's 9 million. That could be a shout. I think for the final midfielder, I think this is what I'm going to do. Szoboszlai and Vinicius. That's like a rough wildcard team, and you've got 1.8 in the bank. Now, something else you might want to consider, actually, is then Fermin Lopez to Yamal, and go for that sort of differential duo that I talked about. You're matching the Limitless users, and in order to afford that, you downgrade Vinicius. And you could even downgrade Szoboszlai and then start Luis Suarez. I'd be very keen on that, actually. That looks really good, in my opinion. And if you were to go for Salah, 4.7, you can go for any cheap midfielder. But I'm very bullish on the Sporting striker anyway, so yeah, that could work. And then if we go to affordable midfielders with my budget, let's see. It could just be any one of these options. Not really anything too important there. And so you would start Kepa. You could bench Ben White since you've already got the Arsenal coverage, but I'd probably start Ben White, Skelly, Mosquera, etc. They all work. And Mosquera is the cheapest of the lot. I would go for Koundé and probably Van Dijk. I think Grimaldo's a good option, and I was very torn about this and conflicted yesterday, but I think Van Dijk just about edges it. I would start Yamal, Rafinha, Salah, and Martinelli, and up front Haaland, Luis Suarez, and Mbappe. That looks really good. And if you're not happy with the midfield or a certain position, what you could do is downgrade Haaland to Alvarez or Ousmane Dembele. That gives you even more funds as well. So there's plenty you could do to be flexible and match those Limitless users. But yeah, what I'm going to do now is go to my transfers, back down to reality. I'm down to 10 men, and this is where I need to make some changes. So yeah, I'm going to go through member questions first. Try to be patient as well. Thank you to those that have been waiting. Ahmad says, I can sub in Brunstad Fet for a Kanji, but I doubt if that is any better. Yeah, I don't really see a massive difference there. I mean, you could try that, but it's certainly not worth taking another hit and a -20 overall. So I think you've done enough, and 10 of your players look really enticing. And with a Kanji, you could get ball recoveries, to be fair, against Dortmund. So I'd probably just stick him in there. Suarez or Alvarez? I do like Suarez a lot, but if money is no issue, yeah, going to be Alvarez for me. So for those asking about Limitless and Wildcard, I just covered them, and hopefully that does help you a lot. Sid says, only Mbappe, Haaland, Fermi Lopez, Hanko, Bacho, Kalulu starting for me. Yeah, so it's not ideal whatsoever, but that's where some hits could be taken. -8, maybe a -12, but it's just very important to distinguish what's worth a hit and what isn't. So if you're going for midfielders and forwards of a high ceiling, like Mbappe, then yeah, that is worth the hit, even if it means a -16 or something. But you've got to be very careful with the balance, and even with goalkeeper moves, you have to be absolutely convinced about a clean sheet, and even then you probably only gain 2 points there. I'll go through that soon, Miles, and try to go through other screens as well. Dan Burn or Buongiorno? Probably Buongiorno. Better chance of a clean sheet for me. Haaland or Ekitike? Haaland. He's also second in my captaincy list now over Harry Kane. Best striker next to Mbappe and Haaland, any? Yes, I think Dembele, Alvarez, Luis Suarez, Gyökeres would be the ones, probably in that order as well. You're going to see that again in the captaincy section. Yes, we get unlimited transfers in Matchday 9 and 11. People are using chips because they are decimated by injury, suspensions, and rotation, so it makes sense to use it now instead of taking massive hits. If you have both Limitless and Wildcard left, which one to use here? That's a really good question. I think if it was me personally with both chips available, I'd be tempted to Limitless, because you get a 5 million increase in your budget for the knockout stages, so it makes it easier to sort of match Limitless users in the knockout stages, including the playoffs. And with the wild card, you could also dead end your team a little bit, and so then go for players focusing specifically on match day 11 and 12 after using unlimited transfers again, and then you can wildcard in 13 for the first leg of the quarterfinals, and that's where you can start thinking about the rest of the tournament. So that puts you in a really good position. So yeah, I'd say Limitless now. Alvarez, Dembele, Lewandowski, Guirassy, Ekitike, Jackson or other. Yeah, Dembele for me. Alvarez is not too far behind. Lewandowski is always a great shout in the Champions League. A bit disappointing this season, to be fair, but yeah, he's still firing in the other competitions. And I do like Luis Suarez over the other strikers you mentioned. I think Ekitike over Guirassy and Jackson goes without saying, but yeah, I think Dembele, Alvarez, Lewandowski, and Gyökeres, Suarez, those are the other strikers to look at. And that also answers this question about the best striker next to Mbappe and Haaland. Thank you very much. Yes, we get unlimited transfers after this match day. I'll try not to go through that too much. The madman I am, I got Havertz and Bernasconi in with Koundé Capitano. Very bold, but you're probably in a good position with your overall squad. So all the best. Thank you to the moderators like Keith for moderating the chat. I don't think Kepa's worth a hit, but I might just end up doing it to prevent having 10 men. So I'm not really sure if he is. Well, to be honest, Theo, I haven't locked in my team yet. I'm just trying to answer questions still, but try my best. My advice to everyone is not to copy. You can use these video streams and also content discussions as ideas, as a platform to bounce these sort of creative solutions to our squads, but it's not worth copying. And I've always said that because otherwise you're limiting yourself to what someone else can do. And I think the ceiling is always higher than that. Start Paredes or Bensabani. not a big fan of either, but probably Paredes. Would a Barca player not be better captain because they need more goals and Real is in the top 3 already? The thing is, though, Mbappe's in incredible form across all competitions with braces and hat-tricks on a regular basis. But yeah, in terms of the need to qualify and the importance to Barcelona, that's true. But that also brings pressure to the game. And I think with Barcelona, they can also share the goals. So you can look at it from different angles, but Mbappe is still number 1 for me. Now, it's not an absolute, he's not walking away with it and streets ahead of the rest, but it is worth mentioning. Isn't Greenwood a better attacking choice? I don't think so. But look, against Club Brugge, I think it's a decent fixture, but that's quite a tough game to call. I think it could be, it could go either way. -8 for Mosquera and Kepa. It depends really, because if you have another goalkeeper or defender, just do that instead of taking another hit. Even someone like a Kanji, for example, I'd rather start him instead of just taking a hit for Mosquera, as good as Arsenal look defensively this week. Yamal and Balde or Rafinha. Yeah, thank you, Keith, for moderating the chat. Spamming like that is just not tolerated. So yeah, thanks for sorting that. Haaland, Vinicius or Salah? Haaland. Thanks, Haribo, for the super chat. With free transfers, I can get a 4-3 free 11. Kepa, Benzabani, Calafiori, Burn, Kelly, Fermin Lopez, Vinicius, Yamal, Garassi, Mbappe, Haaland. Anyone worth getting for a -4? Not keen to play Garassi, Burn, and Benzabani. Yeah, I get that. I think what you could consider here is Garassi to a striker, and I've mentioned quite a few of them already. But if we're looking at the weakest link of your team, it's probably Burn. So what I'd probably do here is Burn to one of Van Dijk, Grimaldo, or an Arsenal defender, and then you double up on that Gunners defence. I think Garassi could still walk away with a goal, and in that sense you are going all in on Dortmund with 2 players there, but I just think Burn against PSG, I don't see him returning at all. So yeah, I think Burn out is probably the way to go, even though the highest ceiling on paper is by making a forward transfer, but Garassi could still get something against Inter Milan. I prefer Yamal over Rafinha. I've been quite consistent on that. Scamacca bench to Haaland for a -4, or just start Enzo? Good question. I'd go for Haaland and take the hit. Well, to be fair, UCL Fantasy is always a bit like this. Every stream almost has over 1,000 concurrent viewers, which I very much appreciate. But yeah, it does get very hectic, to say the least. I think Barca Madrid get a draw. It's possible, but it could be a high-scoring draw. And that means that the likes of Yamal, Fermin Lopez, Rafinha, and Mbappe, Vinicius, they can still do really well. But yeah, good point. I think they aren't absolute guaranteed victories. I personally think that Barca will win. With Madrid, probably still the same, but a little bit less confident. Okay, so let's focus on my transfers. I want to get this done and just forget about it. So Raya to Kepa is what I'm probably going to do. Can't believe both my goalkeepers are benched. That's unbelievable. Let's refresh this as well so we get the icons just to make it a bit easier and simpler to follow. So yeah, Raya to Kepa. I think with the defense, I'm probably going to leave it. Even though Gusto away to Napoli, Gabriel benched and Burn doesn't look great. But yeah, it's horrendous, isn't it? I'm probably going to start Gusto. With the midfield, and I've also got Kane. This is horrendous, man. I might even take some massive hits here, so watch this space. Vinicius. Let's go for Martinelli. And I might just go for Haaland. So that's a -8. So I would start Kepa, Baccio, Upamecano, Gusto, Martinelli, Vinicius, Fermin Lopez, Rafinha, Haaland, Mbappe, and Garassi. It's not terrible, but I'm taking a -8 hit for this. If that was my team without making transfers, I'd be like, yeah, that's not too shabby. Crack on. But that's not the case. So yeah, it's looking a bit mad, to say the least. But let's see. I think Haaland coming back in looks reasonable. 8.6 in the bank. I could even go for Yamal over Vinicius if I wanted to, but I've already got 2 Barca attackers, so I'm probably going to stay clear from that, which I might end up regretting. But yeah, I think Martinelli, I've been very bullish on him. Hopefully he returns and does the business. But Yildiz being benched is just not ideal. The last time I sold Yildiz or didn't have him, he got, I think, an assist off the bench and player of the match. I really hope that isn't the case if I sell him. That would be very annoying, to say the least. But yeah, let's make these transfers. It's not really worth overthinking. With the goalkeeper move, it's far from ideal. But yeah, if Arsenal keep a clean sheet, I gain 2 points from that transfer. And if Kepa can get any extra points, then more than welcome. Pacho, Upamecano, Gusto, leave Dan Burn on the bench. I've also got Yilmaz in my 15-man squad. Gabriel will just be there making up the numbers. But yeah, that is probably what I'm going to go for. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat. Do you like those moves? Are there other things you would recommend? We've got a few more super chats to go through. Collie Frankie says Salah, Vinicius, Rafinha, pick one. It's going to be Rafinha for me. He has been underwhelming in the Champions League because of injuries, but I think it's about time he returns. And he's been in great form across all competitions, producing braces and getting multiple assists. And I think with the others, it's close as well, but yeah, probably Salah over Vinicius. It's a very close one, though. I think they're all very good choices in their own right. So yeah, just getting some things done here. So apologies. I am going for the next super chat and then member questions and stuff, but I do want to lock in my squad. Okay, so next up is Luis Alexander. Good to see you. I think, yeah, a long-time patron as well. Big up to you. Tengo 6 jugadores en banca. ¿Crees que vale la pena un -4 o incluso un -8, including Kane? Sí, creo que sí. Puedes ver también con mi pantalla ahora. Estoy pensando en un -8. No es ideal para nada, pero creo que en esta situación vale la pena. Especialmente si vendes a Kane por Haaland. O si no tienes a Mbappé, también eso para mí vale un -4 y no importa si también resulta en un -12 o 16, digamos. Pero sí, creo que vale una pena o vale la pena hacer un -8 en tu caso. No sé todo tu equipo y el contexto, pero es una jornada muy complicada y vale la pena hacer todas estas transferencias, en mi opinión. I'm in your same situation. I'd rather not take a -8. -4 mejor. Yeah, I get that, but it's just I don't like having Yilmaz away to City or Burn away to PSG. And the players I'm bringing in, like Haaland, Vinicius, Martinelli, I think could really be worthwhile. The Kepa one is the one that you either lose out on 2 points probably, or you lose out on 4 points. So it's not really a massive gain either way, a massive difference, but that's the move you could say. Just settle for 10 men and stick with that. But I'm backing Arsenal for the clean sheet. I'm really backing them, so hopefully they don't let me down. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the direction I'm headed in. So not really what I wanted, but I think a lot of us are in this situation, and that's why people are tuning in. And yeah, just trying to lock in their teams as best as possible. Drop a like on the stream, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And yeah, we hit our super chat goal, so I'll be going live for even longer and watching the Arsenal game in particular, whilst yeah, going through even more of your comments and talking about different things. It's going to be even more fun. But yeah, now it's about locking in and getting things set for the deadline. So yeah, I'm looking at other midfielders I could go to. I mean, Salah is the other one I'm looking at. I'm 0.1 off from these moves, which is very frustrating. I can't lie to you. This would be perfect, in my opinion. Although Vinicius is still absolutely fine. But I think Salah against Karabakh would look very enticing. So yeah. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat. Would you go for Salah over Vinicius? And if so, which downgrade would you make to get the funds possible? Start Di Lorenzo, own Enzo, or Ben Sabani, says Paredes. Captain Haaland or try Gain? Well, Haaland is my second favourite captain after Mbappe. But yeah, if you're looking to go for something different, I think Rafinha is absolutely fine. He's in my top 4 list as well. With Di Lorenzo, what's the alternative? That's something I don't... Well, actually, that's a stupid thing for me to say. You said Ben Sabani. I'd probably diversify things and start Ben Sabani. Yeah, Ben Sabani, and I'd captain Haaland personally. But look, Rafinha, good opportunity. And not many will go there because he hasn't returned in the Champions League so far. Don't buy Martinelli and start Burn, says Theodoros. That's interesting. I mean, he has been consistent in the Champions League, but fair enough. Thank you, Zero. Yeah, much appreciated to everyone who sent in a super chat. Should drop Yildiz for Martinelli or Raya for Kepa with my last free transfer. I would say Yildiz to Martinelli, assuming you have another goalkeeper, but you're going to be down to 10 men if you've got Ryan Karnisechi like myself. Lookman or Szoboszlai? Probably Szoboszlai, but I think he's going to play in a deeper role today. Haaland or Yamal? Haaland. Pick two, Haaland, Mbappe, Dembele, Yamal. Mbappe and Haaland. But yeah, I do like Yamal a lot as well. I'm not going to lie to you. They're all great options. I think Dembele's the weak link there, if I can even say that. Bench one, probably Gravenberch. He's going to play in a deeper role as a centre-back, so he'll probably get more ball recoveries, but in terms of goals and assists, on paper, it's not going to be great. Thank you, Keith, for the moderation. ¿A quién dejo en la banca? Martinelli, Szoboszlai, Vinicius or Yamal? Szoboszlai. He's going to play deeper, in my opinion. I'm not worried about Alvarez's form, but nor am I that convinced about his goal output recently. Best strike except for Mbappe and Haaland? I'd say Dembele is probably up there. Lewandowski is a good differential. We just haven't seen the best of him this season. Thank you, Ahmed, for gifting 5 memberships. So we've got Next Frame, Theo Ryan, Joel, Let's Talk Vinu, and Sid as new members. So big up. We've got over 100 on the channel and also patrons. So big up to every single one of you. We've got another super chat as well. Mbappe, Suarez, Dembele, leaving out Rafinha while having Yamal and Fermin to start. Then Grimaldo, Mendes, and Romero's defense. Yeah, I think that's fine. And wait, just to get this straight, leaving out Rafinha. So you have Rafinha and you're benching him. If that's the case, I'm not so sure, and it depends on your other options. But yeah, the defense looks solid. I'd take that over my defense this week on paper. But yeah, good forward line. I can see why you're starting them, but I wouldn't want to bench Rafinha, personally. It's a really good squad, though. You've got Yamal and Fermin Lopez. I do favour Rafinha more than Fermin this week, but that's just my opinion. Grimaldo or Hakimi? Grimaldo. I think PSG have a better chance of a clean sheet, despite the odds suggesting otherwise. But yeah, Grimaldo's there for the attacking threat. Burn or Romero? Definitely Romero. Thoughts on Alisson on Limitless? He's one of the better goalkeepers on paper. Liverpool are second for the clean sheet odds, but my favourites would be Kepa, Donnarumma, Oblak. Yeah, those are my favourite goalkeepers on the Limitless. Yeah, I'll go through that soon, but yeah, Predict 6 is a bit of a mad one as well. I did go through that earlier, but yeah, it's quite a lot to go through. Ahmad says, under the circumstances, I would be happy with anything over 70 or 80 points after counting the -16 hit. Yes, definitely, because that's a lot of minuses, but it's still possible if you can nail on those right attackers and the right transfers in general. Bench McTominay or Yildiz? Well, Yildiz is on the bench. I'd bench him and start McTominay. But we have seen before Yildiz coming on as a substitute and making a big impact. So yeah, let me write these down. Yeah, I will make my final transfers. Thank you, Alfonso Duarte. Much appreciated. And also Julian for the reminder. I definitely don't want to regret not making the final moves. So let's do Kepa, Vinicius. So let's put Vinny, Martinelli, Haaland. Can I? -8. And the other moves would be, let's see, Salah. And instead of Martinelli, who could I go for? I mean, instead of Haaland, that's where I could go for Alvarez or something a little bit different. And that's where Suarez could come into play. I mean, I think I'd still go for Haaland, to be honest. I think he's definitely coming in. So then it's about probably Martinelli out and 7.7 million. Let's see if we can find an affordable solution, an alternative. Eze could be one and still have the Arsenal attacker. Lookman, Szoboszlai. Yeah, they're all under consideration. Even Vitinha. Yeah, I think Vitinha is going to be the one then. So these are my options as well. Let me know your thoughts. So yeah, these are my final transfer plans. I'm going to keep it fairly simple here. Thanks once again to Ahmed for gifting memberships, and to all the super chatters today, all the subscribers, and for all your patience. Yeah, today has been an absolute mad one. Good midfield for 8 million, Martinelli. Martinelli will feast today against the slow Kairat defense. He's been brilliant in the Champions League all season, and I am quite bullish on Martinelli. Wow, so interestingly, Vinicius and Martinelli is winning at the moment. Obviously, Kepa and Haaland would be transferred in both scenarios. But yeah, very interesting stuff. I'm probably going to lock things in at this point, and hopefully, if Martinelli can score me a brace or something or give me some big points, I'd be very happy with that indeed. So, just got to do one last thing, and then I'm just going to lock in my squad and answer your questions rapid fire, because we are now approaching the deadline. Okay, so let's see what the poll is saying as well. Garcia instead of Kepa. I'm probably going to go for Kepa, to be fair. I think Arsenal have a better chance of a clean sheet than Barcelona, and the odds also suggest that. I got minus 32 points. I had to change my team ASAP. Yeah, a lot of people are taking crazy hits this week, and hopefully we can all somehow secure a green arrow, because not everyone who plays UCL Fantasy is watching this, even though a lot of you are engaged, which I appreciate. Yeah, it is a lot, but easy. There are people with minus 16s and 32s and stuff like that. People are really on the Martinelli train. That's interesting. I've been promoting him all week, so fair enough. Bench 1, Szoboszlai or McTominay? Probably McTominay on the bench. Dylan, is Rafinha out of the discussion to be captain? No. And in fact, people keep asking me about the top 10 captains. Let's go to that quickly. So these are the clean sheet odds. And yeah, we've got less than 4 minutes left, so I'll get back to my team shortly. And these are the captaincy options. Forget about Kane. This was before the benching. And either way, I talked about this being a real possibility. So Alvarez, Martinelli, Vinicius, Salah, Dembele, Rafinha, Yamal, Haaland, and Mbappe is my number one option. I'll probably stick with him as well. And there could be a cheeky captaincy poll to wrap things up too. But yeah, I think this is what I'm going to go for here. Hopefully Vinicius and Martinelli can do the business this week. 0.8 in the bank as well. But no real need to spend the extra ones. If I had enough money, so 0.1 more, I probably would opt for Salah over Vinicius, to be fair. But yeah, looks good. And let's see how things go. It would be a double up in the Barca and Madrid attacks. Then 1 City, 1 Dortmund, and 1 Arsenal attacker. The defensive line isn't great, and I'm taking a hit for a goalkeeper, which is just not ideal at all. But we have to work with what we have. And yeah, I think that will be it. Let's start locking things in. I can even go for Yamal and triple up on Barca attack, but yeah, I think that's a bit of a mad one. Martinelli or Vinicius? Probably Vinicius if I had to pick one of them. Miss Cherky Pal, remember that? I think with Haaland, I'm fine with that. I don't need to go for another one. Enjoy as well, Lager. Best 7.2 million mid. I have Rafinha, Fermin Lopez, Kvaratskhelia. Szoboszlai is still good, but he is playing in a deeper position this week, so bear that in mind. I'd probably stick with him, to be fair. Yeah, there is a lot of value in the midfield. The top 5 high scoring midfielders cost less than 7.8 million, or at that price and below. Yeah, it is worth it, for sure, taking a minus for it for that team. I think that's a good position to be in. Yeah, we've got similar setups, actually, but I think maybe yours looks a little bit better. All right, so let's lock this in. Less than 2 minutes left. -8 hit taken, oh god. Kane, Saka, Yildiz, and Raya to Haaland, Vinicius, Martinelli, and Kepa. Yep, let's go. Let's just get this done. And make sure to lock in your bench, even though automatic subs would take place, but you want to be in control of your starting 11. So here I mean, in terms of the bench order, I'd probably leave it at that. I just don't see Burn returning at all. Gabriel could come off the bench and score a goal, I guess. I'm just going to put him last on the bench, I think. So, let's see. I think that's all done. We've got literally less than a minute to go. And there we go. So my final squad is Kepa in goal, Bacho, Upamecano and Gusto, Rafinha, Fermin Lopez, Martinelli and Vinicius, Guirassy, Mbappe captain, and Erling Haaland. So, let's see if I can quickly do a poll. And thanks to those that voted as well. Let's do a captaincy one, but yeah, we've literally got 30 seconds. Yeah, City are not informed, that is true. But I still back Haaland to return to goal-scoring ways. And his record in the Champions League is ridiculous. So let's do this. Mbappe, Haaland, Yamal, Rafinha. I think those are the main choices. Yeah, I think that is the main one. Let's put other as the other option. Okay, but yeah, we are locked in now. The final match day of the league phase, and what a match day already with all the benchings. I mean, I've never seen so many in my life. It is honestly something surreal. But there you go. I provided best Limitless and Wildcard teams, updated versions. I showed you the top 10 captains and yeah, reacted to all the key UCL Fantasy benchings and stuff like that. Let's see who you're captaining in the poll. Most of you are going for Mbappe, it seems. Yamal and Rafinha in second. Haaland's third. Well, technically Haaland is last. Even the other option is higher. And over 100 votes as well. Lamby says, good luck everyone. Don't forget to enjoy this crazy 2 hours of football. Yes, try to enjoy it as much as possible. And it should be a good one. But yeah, I honestly didn't expect this much rotation. I expected some, but not to this level. So I'm just going to get the Arsenal game up and yeah, try to enjoy it. But I am going to go through some of your questions and comments whilst watching the game, and we can now chill a little bit, hopefully. That's what we want to do. So I'll be watching Arsenal Kairat, and you lot can watch the more interesting games, I guess. So yeah, this should work. Okay. So let's see if we can see any points rising live. That'd be quite nice. Okay. Let's see. So just going to get your questions up now. And drop a like even if you're on your way out. I do appreciate those that tuned in to one of the most hectic streams of the season. Yeah, you should be able to see it now. I think maybe you said that earlier. Let the chaos begin, definitely. -8 is not bad. I'm on -12. I've seen all sorts today. -4s, 8s, 12s, 16s, 24s. Who knows at this point? Would you want to see Alvarez in the Arsenal squad? Or let Gyökeres develop? Well, Gyökeres is 27 to be fair, but yes, I would love to see Alvarez in the team. Then again, I wanted Gyökeres in the summer, and he hasn't really reached the heights that we wanted, but I also think he hasn't gotten the service, which is a big factor. Yeah, Garcia is 0.1 less than Kepa. That's true. It's a good shout, but yeah, I think I'd just rather settle for that. Vinicius or Salah. We'll see if that ends up costing me. Yeah, Giuseppe said start one Buongiorno, Burn or Bensabani. It would have probably been Bensabani there. Burn last, that's for sure. Captain Alvarez, Mbappe. Yeah, it's still Mbappe for me. You saw my Campsy list just a few minutes ago. Pick 3, Koundé, O'Reilly, Nuno Mendes, Grimaldo, Van Dijk. I would have benched... Very difficult benching dilemma here, but probably Nuno Mendes and I think O'Reilly. Yep, doing a bit of a watch along now. Well, trying to get the game to work, but yeah, it's not really successful at the moment. But yeah, I'm watching the Arsenal game. And yeah, you lot can focus on the others. The more enticing matches, for sure. So we do have a few goals already. Tottenham, Arsenal. I can't even see the bloody goal. It's Victor Gyökeres who has scored. Just when I'm talking about him, yeah, no wonder the development question came in. Probably not really a coincidence there, I guess. But yeah, great start there for the Gunners. And then for Tottenham, Xavi Simons. And yeah, Sporting are already behind. But so far, nothing too bad for my UCL Fantasy team. I just hope that Martinelli can get on the score sheet. That would be pretty nice. But yeah, it's a bit of a mad one. And yeah, we're going to probably get even more goals over the next few minutes, and hopefully I can react to some of them and actually see what's happening. People did ask me about Predict 6 as well. I'm going to show you that quickly. So yeah, I went for some interesting results. By the way, Copenhagen are winning 1-0 against Barcelona. So yeah, that's not good for my booster, the Joker, I guess, unless Barca score 3 and I get a great scoreline there. So I went for 3-1 Madrid, 2-0 Paris Saint-Germain, Man City 2, Galatasaray 1, Liverpool 2, Karabakh 1, Barca 3, Copenhagen 1, Napoli 1, Chelsea 1. And I did vote, well, I did put all my individual predictions, which is very important for those additional points. And yeah, this is all addressed as well. So back to my squad here. And we can forget about the timer because we are all done. Yeah, -4 to bring in Vinny. I did the same thing. And yeah, I think that was probably the way to go. Salah or Mbappe captain? Yeah, Mbappe. I was very consistent on that. Salah was ranked highly, though, in the top 5, there or thereabouts, top 6. Would you want to see Alvarez? Yeah, covered, sorry. Some reason YouTube bugged out, I think, or... Yamal and any 4 million goalkeeper, or Lewandowski, Rafinha / Martinelli plus Kepa. It would have been Rafinha and Kepa for me. Burn or Yilmaz? Yilmaz. Dembele or Alvarez? Dembele. But yeah, I think these are from earlier. So yeah, a lot of goals here. VAR, PSG, Newcastle. Yeah, goals galore. I can't even... Whenever Gyökeres scores, by the way, I can't watch. I think when he scored against Leeds, I was literally travelling, so I couldn't see the goal. Maybe I should stop watching Arsenal and Gyökeres will do well. So yeah, maybe a penalty. I'll keep my eyes peeled for that. Yeah, exactly. We want to know who's assisted. I can't even watch the game. It's so annoying. Last Saturday, last-minute leaks for FPL. Now so many players benched. Hectic. Yes, the past week has been crazy on all fronts. Yeah, penalty for PSG. That's great for Vitinha. Oh, Dembele misses the penalty. Oh, dear. Pope's save. Yeah, I also sort of forgot Predict 6. I went for it briefly at the beginning. But yeah, with UCL Fantasy, so much to process and going through the information for new viewers, it was kind of a mad one. Enjoy the games, Banjo? No way, you're lying here, Adams, surely. Barca down, yes. Why did Dembele take it? I'm not sure. Vitinha has missed some, though, including one against Arsenal, but I'm hoping... let me check this for myself, man. And yeah, it's kind of strange. I should be able to get the game up now. But yeah, if Carrot did get a penalty, I mean, that's pretty much my my -4 for Kepa already in the bin. He's not the best penalty saver. Let's put it that way. Let's see. So yeah, I'm going to get the Arsenal game up now and try to enjoy it. Yeah, it's 1-1. That is crazy. That hit for Kepa was absolutely useless. So yeah, both Juan Garcia and Kepa both conceded. So wow, Arsenal are level with Kyra. That is insane. Oh well, great start to UCL Fantasy. Yeah, great process. Now I just need Martinelli to score, and then I can forget about that. The less said, the better. Club Brugge are 1-0 up against Marseille. And the goal was scored by Diakon. So yeah, Stankovic with the assist. With the other game, so with Kara and Mati, Jorginho was the one who scored the equaliser. And Copenhagen's goal was by Victor Dawson. And with the other matches, yeah, PSG are 1-0 up. Right? I think PSG are 1-0 up now. So yeah, so much to keep track of. It's insane. But yeah, not really what I wanted, I think, with the Kepa one. I mean, what more can I say? I've got them both. Gyökeres captain too. Why is the UCL more scoring than the Prem? Is it because the Prem has better quality teams? I mean, I can't really speak too soon. I don't have any points on the board in UCL Fantasy yet, but I think it typically is higher scoring. There's also more quality players. You've got Mbappe in the Champions League, and you've got Harry Kane. You don't have that in FPL. So it's a mixture. I think it's a mixture of both factors. Arsenal, Tottenham, and Athletic Club goals. Dembele misses the penalty. Club Brugge goal. Yeah, good summary there. And unfortunately, Arsenal, stinker when it comes to the first few minutes. The table will be up and down in 90 minutes. Yes. As long as Arsenal stay top, it's good. And they win the game. It'd be a bit crazy if they didn't get the job done. I really pray I get some returns this week. I really don't like my team. Same here. It's a very precarious situation, one that we're not used to, but UCL Fantasy can be like that sometimes. Yeah, Arsenal clean sheet gone. Carrot scores a goal. Can you imagine? Well, I was hoping that wouldn't be the case. Arsenal were top of the clean sheet odds, 65% chance. One of the highest figures you'll see all season. But yeah, mass rotation. Not too much to play for, so yeah, it is what it is, right? This is going to be painful. Yeah, clean sheet gone in 7 minutes. I just wish one of Karasechi or Rai started, and that would have saved me the hit. Gyökeres scored as soon as I asked my Alvarez question. I think I am the lucky charm. Yeah, hopefully he can score a winner. Wiped off the Xavi goal, says Craig Wright. What is going on? It's the Champions League, mate. It's just... enjoy it. Yeah, thanks to those reminding me of Kepa. Is it better without keeper than having a keeper conceding? Yes, which is why I said it's not really like a worthwhile transfer. It's not like you have to do it, even if you're down to 10 men. But I was convinced of an Arsenal clean sheet, which is why I pulled the trigger. But yeah, Kepa's going to get 1 or 2 points now. Happy I didn't take a hit for Ben White at the moment. Yeah. Vitinha did score. That's, yeah, I almost went for Vitinha, but let's not talk about that. Kvaratskhelia with the assist. And Man City are 1-0 up. Hopefully it's Haaland. I want some points in one way, shape or form. Whoa, Jesus, what's happening here? I think it might be Haaland, you know. I think Haaland has scored, but I'll double check that. I don't want to spread false information. So yeah. Let's go to your other questions as well and see what you are saying. My triple Arsenal defense punt has bitten me in. Yeah, very unfortunate there. I was quite confident, optimistic that they would keep a clean sheet. Remove Vitinha and he scores. Yeah, Vitinha's an awkward one, right? He can return when you least expect, and he's got a good record against Premier League teams. A hat-trick against Tottenham and now a goal against Newcastle. But yeah, Vitinha, one of the best midfielders in the game. And yet Haaland did score. So at least that transfer worked. Something paid off. Maybe we should have captained him, but only time will tell. It's very early days still in this match day, but a lot has happened already, even before a ball was kicked. Stankovic Jr. Yeah, Champions League has 36 teams, Premier League 20. I mean, that's one reason. I also think the player quality is another. We have some of the best players in world football playing in this competition. So much for double Arsenal defense. I don't regret recommending that, but yeah, there's always a risk, right, when you put all your eggs in a certain basket. And with Arsenal, I even was tempted or considering a triple up defensively. But the less said, the better. Yeah, Arsenal can't lose to Karamati after what happened in the United game where they had a good start, 1-0 up, and the nerves in that match was unbelievable. I think Arsenal shot themselves in the foot. But yeah, everyone already, up to date with Haaland scoring. The Flying Dutchman, I remember you from a few years ago. Good to see you again. Maybe you've been watching the last couple of streams. Ashish says already the team looking bad after the wildcard. Still very early though. We can't judge after 14 minutes, but yeah, you always want that really positive sort of initiation, so then you're a bit easier and calmer about your picks, and Haaland scoring will definitely help. So let's see. The points haven't been updated yet, but Sporting have scored. I'll update you on the goal scorer very shortly. And it's 2-0 Club Brugge against Marseille. And I talked about this before when someone mentioned Greenwood. I think that's a tricky game to call. And yeah, Club Brugge are a decent side. So yeah, with Marseille, a few UCL fantasy options were benched like Igor Paxao and Aubameyang. And they're now 2-0 down. But yeah, a few goals so far, but not too many, I guess. And yeah, Tottenham's goal was chalked off, as someone mentioned earlier. So Xavi Simons did not score in the end. Damn, Calafiori conceded the penalty and got booked. I was torn between him and Gravenberch, but went with Calafiori. Well, Gravenberch is a midfielder in the game. Maybe, well, you're probably aware of that, right? He is playing in a deeper position today to cover for Joe Gomez and Konate. But yeah, Calafiori I just wasn't really a big fan of for this week, and his minutes could be managed. Yeah, just a shame he conceded the penalty. Arsenal clean sheet wiped out. Calafiori on -1. UCL Fantasy Heritage. Samir Lambi. One of the good decisions I made so far for this match day, but we can't judge it fully yet. At least we got our first return of the game week, and if you have Vitinha as well, fair play. Dylan Waite, we can pick the team for the playoffs. Will that be unlimited before the knockouts? Yes. For match day 9 and 11, just like last season, we get unlimited transfers. Easy says, I only made 2 free transfers, all benched players in my bench, especially we cannot sub it in. Just leave it there. Yeah, I mean, I was very confident of all the players I brought in returning, but it is what it is. Leverkusen are 1-0 up, and I hope it's not Grimaldo involved, but we'll wait and see about that. And for Sporting, it was Diamonde with the goal and Araujo providing the assist. But yeah, Barcelona are still losing. And yeah, everything else remains the same for now. Arsenal, if they try to draw with Cara or lose to them, then I'll definitely need to riot. Yeah. And yeah, a lot of people mentioning Haaland again. At least he scored. How did you feel after the United game in the Prem? I wanted to delete Twitter, if I'm being honest. Just a bit surprised at how nervy Arsenal were. That was the main takeaway. And they're still 4 points clear, but there is this sort of element of nervousness in general that Arsenal need to be 7 points clear or above to really be secure and confident, but it shouldn't have to be like that. But I think the recent seasons and the last 20 years in general, when it comes to the Premier League, have played a big part in that mentality or the fear. But Arsenal shouldn't be like that. They've got the best squad and they've been the best team in the Premier League and across most competitions this season. Now it's just about getting over the line. Yeah, Captain Gyökeres, not too shabby. I mean, he's outscoring Mbappe for now, so can't complain. GB Gamer says, yeah, he did. Havertz 2-1. Okay, that's good, but not Martinelli. This week is going to be awful. Possibly. The more hits you take, the less likely it is for a green arrow, I guess. Club Brugge is definitely destroying Marseille, says Ian. Went for Martinelli over Gyökeres. Well, they are different positions, but yeah, I don't regret not buying Gyökeres because I got Haaland and he scored. But yeah, Martinelli, it's not looking good. Vitinha would have been a better transfer so far. Hopefully that changes by the end of the match day. Damn, makes me wobble for the weekend, says Twisted Parky. Yeah, Haaland, look, there's no guarantee he starts over the weekend, but I think he will against Tottenham. Yeah, Vermaat with a second goal for Club Brugge. Dembele and Karat ruin my night. Yeah, it can just take these fine margins to either have a great week or a pretty mediocre one. In Martinelli, we trust. There's still time, and there are already 3 goals in that match. So we could see more. Yeah, exactly that, Ahmad. The Tottenham goal was disallowed, just to remind people there. Good thing I didn't take a hit to bring in Kepa. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that again. This last match day is more stressed than our FPL performances. Well, someone else earlier said UCL Fantasy is calm and FPL is more stressful. Maybe not this time. Maybe Kepa scores a goal. Maybe he gets another penalty to save, and he actually saves it this time. But as soon as I heard that Cara got a penalty, I knew they were going to score that. I want City to lose today, so they will have to play 2 extra games in the Champions League, which will in turn help the Gunners. Yeah, I don't think they'll lose, though. And they're already 1-0 up. And Arsenal should still get the job done, irrespective of extra games or not for City. And we saw something similar last season, of course. Yeah, maybe not a lot of goals, but we've got a few coming in. We need an Upamecano bullet header. That would make up for the absence in Matchday 7, where I brought him in as a substitute, and we got that surprise. Yeah, not even on the bench. He was just left out of the squad entirely. Ernesto says, I've got Vanaken. I love that guy. He always gives some points. I hope today is not the exception. Yeah, Vanaken's been a decent UCL fantasy option over the years, definitely. And a lot of people have been watching the Arsenal game and reminding me of the Havertz goal. So let's see who got the assist. Enzo penalty, 1-0. And someone did ask me about benching Enzo or buying this player in and stuff like that. Yeah, some very tough calls to be made this week. Unlimited transfers, but not unlimited budget. Yeah, of course. You only get unlimited budget with the Limitless. And this is not a wild card, but it is very similar to one because you get unlimited transfers and they're permanent. And I have Koundé. There goes the clean sheet. It's just not looking good at the moment. Arsenal scores again, so close to Havertz's pick, but took Eze. Yeah, and I went for Martinelli. It's like 95% of us went with Martinelli instead of Gyökeres. Liverpool 1-0, Arsenal 2-1, Atletico 1-0. Yeah, I'll cover those. So with Liverpool at least, Havertz got the assist as well, by the way. So goal and assist for Havertz, a very big return for him on his return. And yeah, I'll find out the Liverpool goal scorer very soon. And the same goes for Atletico. So for Atletico, it was Seinof, who has been in great form recently, and Hanko got the assist. It's 2-0 now to Liverpool. Frimpong was subbed off due to an injury. Endo subbed on. Van Dijk got the assist for McAllister, and I was looking at getting Van Dijk, and it's a great start there for the Premier League champions. Paphos are now 1-0 up. Dragomir scored the opening goal. So yeah, plenty of points flying around. Not too many in my team, but oh well. What can we do? Hopefully Martinelli can add a bit of spice to proceedings. Okay, let's go to your questions, answer a few more before wrapping up. What a goal by Paphos is Anduril. I haven't seen it. I'll try to have a look after the stream. Well, yeah, it's just a blip with Arsenal, but I think in recent Premier League matches, it hasn't really been good enough. Drawing 2 consecutive games and then losing to United, 2 points out of 9. Across all competitions, it has been good, but yeah, the nerves on Sunday was unbelievable. I think that was a game where you could say Arsenal bottled it. I think generally speaking, the word is thrown around very loosely. White assist, let's go. I'm not sure about that, to be fair. Let's see. Yeah, he did get the assist. You are right. So Havertz goal and assist, Ben White assist. Yeah, so at least my White recommendation has sort of paid off for people. But yeah, no clean sheet. That was the bulk of the return there. A lot of goalless draws as well happening so far. So right now, let's see where we're at. So we do have 250 likes. I do appreciate those that supported the stream. And yeah, be sure to drop one if you haven't done so already. Yeah, thanks Twisted Parky. One to monitor for FPL. And Connor Bradley's also injured at the moment. So Shobos lied to right back. McAllister scores for Liverpool, not his brother from Union Saint-Gilloise. It's worth distinguishing that for sure. The McAllister twins. But yeah. Does this make you consider keeping Limitless till Matchday 8 next season? Possibly, but even then, I still think Matchday 2 to 7 is better. With the wildcard, I think it would be very useful because you cheap out your bench and then you can invest all your money into the starting 11. But that would also require you to go through September to January with not many injuries or suspensions. So I think the wildcard would still be used a bit earlier in most situations. But yeah, it would make me consider saving a chip for Matchday 8, definitely. So yeah, Wirtz 2-0. Oh, benched Van Dijk. Yeah, I wish I had him. He was one of my transfer plans, but I didn't make a defender move in the end. But I don't want to jinx myself. So far, Bacho, Upamecano, Gusto. Yeah, let me not say anything else because I'm starving for points. So, yeah, Wirtz I had in UCL Fantasy quite a lot last season. Who has him now? Maybe a few of you, because there's a lot of Wirtz love in the chat. Yep, Seinof for Atletico Madrid. People definitely in touch with the Arsenal and Liverpool results right now. At least UCL captain can get more than our FPL captain last game week. It depends. Let's see what Mbappe does in my situation. Yeah, Enzo's been very consistent for Chelsea recently and a few penalties in there, which definitely helps. Thank you, Paredes. A massive thank you to you and also the rest of the community. My captain was Thiago. Thought I cooked going against Haaland. Yeah, I gained 1 point from that. So just very underwhelming and anticlimactic. So yeah, all the Premier League teams, well, let me not say that. 3 of the Premier League teams are winning. PSG are obviously being Newcastle and Spurs are goalless against Frankfurt. It's sad seeing Mr. 007 scoring goals. He is a quality player though. Kvaratskhelia out injured. Yeah, quite a few injuries flying around at the moment. Not good at all. And Kvaratskhelia got an assist as well. We need you to manage the chaos. Yeah, well, I need to steady my own ship and my own UCL fantasy team, but it's out of my hands now. All I can do is provide reassurance to people, and maybe some people do need it. It's like a therapy session in the end. Wirtz is finally getting into form. I think over the past month he has been. Even before he started getting goal contributions, there were a few matches where he was getting some top performances in. And yeah, he's a quality player. I forgot the deadline. I have Kane, Raya, Timber and Elise in my team. Well, Kane and Elise could still come off the bench and score. Not Raya though. That's not going to happen. And with Timber, probably not at this point. So looking at the other results, any updates? I don't think so. Everything else is the same still. And Atalanta are still keeping a clean sheet. If only Kanasechi started. What's Barca doing? I'm not sure. And I almost took a hit for Yamal, but Vinicius isn't doing any better at the moment. Thank you, Julian. I'll catch you next time. Hope the points start coming in. That's the aim. Maybe we need to end the stream to get some more points in, but usually we just get early points when I'm wrapping up the deadline stream regardless. If Havertz played a few minutes before today, I would have gone for him instead of Eze. Yeah, massive differential for those that went there, and that's why going in early sometimes just pays off, and I don't think anybody expected Havertz to start and produce this return already. I would have been very chuffed with that, and it would have saved my game week, for sure. FPL Jono says, I have Wirtz in FPL. Plan was to sell him to Enzo, but not 100% on it. Wirtz playing well recently. In my recent transfer tips, I talked about holding Wirtz and selling Ekitike, and I stand by that. In fact, it might have been the week before, so just before they played Bournemouth. And I know Wirtz blanked in that game, but he came close to scoring, and I think he probably is worth keeping in some situations. But if he's your only route to Fernandes or Mbumo, yeah, I would prioritize that United midfielder. I went Thiago too, let's not talk about it. Yeah, so disappointing. I think a lot of the captaincy picks just let us down in FPL. Imagine last game week in FPL, the chaos of the last game week of the points. Yeah, we can talk about that in May. There's still a long way to go, but yeah. With UCL Fantasy, of course, this is a very unique experience with 36 teams participating at the same time, 18 matches, so many goals to keep track of. Maybe the goals have slowed down a little bit, as Juan says. Yeah, the Spurs goal was disallowed. Yeah, it was. Xavi Simons scored, and it was ruled off. Next UCL, just give the trophy to Man United. Chill. Look, fair play for being Arsenal and Man City, but relax, mate. You've got to get into it first, and then, yeah, you can maybe win it, but United are not kings at the moment. They have been pretty crap for a few years. 15th last season, just saying. Carrick performance so far of United. Yeah, very promising. I do think against Arsenal, look, I think both City and Arsenal didn't play to their full potential, and you've got to give credit to United for that. They stifled them, and they had their own game plan, much better than what we saw under Ruben Amorim, especially last season. But yeah, let's chill a bit. Yeah, I say Juan. Oh yeah, I noticed what your name is now. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to call you Juan. I think that's the best thing to do. Ian says, later guys, anytime I stream, I score good points. Good luck, guys. Okay, yeah, well, see you very soon. And if you find something that works and gives you UCL fantasy points, do it. Don't limit yourself. Bye, Dylan. Catch you in the FPL deadline stream. Yes, that will be on Sunday. Sunday? Saturday. So not very long until that. Yes, Roy Keane and Carrick have a bit of beef, it seems. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but United won't win every game. I'm telling you that now. City 2-0. Hopefully it's Cherky. I was going to say hopefully Haaland. Yeah, Thiago screwed some of us again. Went with Haaland and he gave 2 points. Yeah. Just when you thought this is a great opportunity to gain some real points, and nope. Igor Thiago, 2 times I've captained him. He's blanked on both occasions. Alderete or James Hill, who should I get with a wildcard 31, 32 in mind? My defense is Raya, Tarkovsky, Nunez, Gabriel Chalobah, and then shout to Alderete or James Hill to find Xhaka to Mbumo. I'd still say Alderete, but Bournemouth are near the top of the FDR. I would also be open to Senesi, who is very good for DEFCON, but yeah, Alderete for me. Ashish says, love this match day, lots of games and chaos. I would also love it if I get some points. That United strand just needs 3 games due to Carrick. Yeah, but we said this when United had 3 or 4 wins in a row, and then they messed things up. So let's not count the chickens too early. Do a stream till half-time. No guarantees. I mean, I am on the verge of ending it. I mean, we have been going live for the past 2 hours at this point. Doku assist, says Lamby. Twisted Parky says Roofs, Timber, Gabriel, Chalobah, Mbumo, Bruno, Semenyo, Garner, Thiago, Haaland with DCL, Van de Ven, Chow, my bench Bruno, possibly Gabriel. Might start DCL if rival goes double Arsenal. Well, with Arsenal's recent defence, it's not really a bad idea. I'm still going to probably say bench Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but yeah, if there's ever a time to go against the Arsenal defence, it's probably now. Good team overall. I'm looking at captaining Bruno anyway, and I said this before the Arsenal match over the weekend. That was my sort of provisional plan using FPL.team. Your squad is in a good place. You've got some solid bench cover, and you don't need to make any transfers just yet. But yeah, Garner's just there as a sort of 4 to 5 points guy. DEFCON, consistent starter, and a lot of people are looking at Ndai now from Everton. But yeah, I'd probably not start Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Also, I'm interested in why you get more viewers in UCL. I think with the Champions League, I've also been a consistent voice in this fantasy format for years. And yeah, for both FPL and UCL Fantasy, I've been making content for 6 years at this point. But I think with the Champions League, I was the first person to do deadline streams, also regular Limitless and Wildcard squads, and also team selections every single match day. And I think with the consistency and building that voice and platform, I think that's probably the main reason why. Yeah, FPL has more players than UCL Fantasy, and that also means more content, more content creators competing for the same space. So it's more saturated than UCL Fantasy as well. Andrew says, FPL question, I'm 13k, 5 free transfers, but really want a wildcard. I know it's best used later, but even when I use 5 free transfers now, I don't like my team completely. What's your view on the wildcard and holding 5 free transfers? So it's a very specific question. I don't know your exact team. But what I can say is that when I wildcarded in 16 and then had 5 free transfers, I got into a position where I was very trigger happy with my moves. I think it's probably best to use your free transfers now and wildcard a bit later, because we're going to get more doubles and blanks after Game Week 30. There might be one in Game Week 26, depending on the Carabao Cup results. And if Arsenal reach the final, we could see them double in 26. But yeah, every situation is different. But I would say save the wildcard until after and use a few of your free transfers now. I know you're saying that you're not happy with your team exactly, but some of them might be bench players and you don't need to sell them now per se. And you're in a good position now for a reason. If you change everything, sorry, with the wildcard, you might put yourself in a very precarious situation in the long term. And that's where you start using your 5 free transfers. And then you're in a similar position to me where you had so many green arrows. And then after using the wildcard and your transfers, you're in a sort of fragile state. I'm not saying you're guaranteed to experience the same thing I did, but it's just worth bearing in mind. Yeah, it's almost half-time and Real Madrid score, and it is Mbappe. Who else was it going to be? But what I'm hoping for is that it was Vinicius with the assist. So I'll have a look at that and see if we can get confirmation. Nothing thus far. And it's 2-1 to Athletic Club against Sporting. But I will check. People are probably saying in the chat right now, to be fair. But let's see. Real Madrid. It was Raul Asensio with the assist. Hopefully Vinicius can do something. Yeah. Only Haaland has done something amongst my transfers, which is far from ideal. Yeah, so at least we got some captaincy points here. Much better than FPL in that regard. Turkey goal, yes, and Mbappe. Nice one, Juan. Is Keane a sell now with Branthwaite back? There's no guarantee that Branthwaite starts the next game, though. But that's an interesting question. I think Keane could be a long-term sell, but for now, it's probably not a priority. In terms of replacements, you're looking at Chalobah and Senesi as like for like. And, yeah, you could even double up on Arsenal defensively when most people are getting off them. I got captaincy between me and rival down to 70. Now back to 100. Second place guy moving away from me too. 100 points seems like a lot, but it's still a long way to go. I've overturned 100 points, you know, that sort of lead in December, January. I overcame that and even finished 100 points above that person by the end of the season, but everyone's different. And yeah, I also was up against a few maybe casuals, if you will. Ajax scores 1-0. Last year I won by 150 plus points. Very comfortable. Yeah, I've got a similar lead, I think, even now, but the head-to-head is ridiculous. It's not going well at all. So Leverkusen have scored a second. And Napoli have scored the equaliser. So my Gusto clean sheet is in the bin. Vergara is the goal scorer for Napoli. Oliveira with the assist. So yeah, Doué came on for Kvaratskhelia earlier. Ajax's goal has been cancelled. It was by Dolberg. And Barcelona are still losing. I watch a lot of content creators now. I broke my shoulder playing football, so I have the time, sadly. Which content creators do you watch? Yeah, I'm just wondering. But yeah, I think people have told me this before. Watching a lot of content creators, it can be a bit awkward in terms of having too much information, or, I mean, people sometimes claim that people, or at least content creators, have the same opinion, and there's nothing really new. Everyone will have their own perspective on that, but yeah, I would like to think that my opinions and my thoughts are different. I don't actively watch others because I just want to form my own sort of outcomes and conclusions. But yeah, I think everyone has their own sort of viewpoint on that, and I think for some it works very well, and having different perspectives can help shape their own transfers, but it's good not to copy, that's for sure. Asensio assist, yeah. Nice goal by Napoli. Yes, very nice, but not for my team, but who cares at this point? Yeah, Mr. Parky, look at you, supporting Chelsea for once. Zero says, Raya, Gabriel, Alderete, Senesi, Rogers, Wilson, Bruno, Enzo, Rice, Ekitike, Haaland. This is my starting 11. This FPL not too bad of a squad, if I'm being honest. No, it isn't. I think in the future you could sell Ekitike to then fund other moves, particularly on a defensive line, because you've only got Gabriel as an expensive option, and you might want to double up on Arsenal or go for Chalobah. I mean, you've got Raya and Gabriel already, so I think it's probably best to just go for Chalobah or... Yeah, Munoz is not really the one for me based on Palace's form, so I think Chalobah would be a great move for you over the next 4. So good squad, room for improvement, and that's where Ekitike could be used as a cash cow, but the midfield is very solid. FPL, Bruno Guimaraes to Enzo. While Bruno is still missing, that's the massive blow for Newcastle. It is 3-1 to Arsenal, by the way. I'll update you on the goal scorer shortly. What I'm going to do is actually react live and see who scored, and hopefully it's Martinelli and I can celebrate for once, but yeah, it's not looking good. Doku was subbed off due to injury. Foden has come on. That's also worth highlighting. And with Leverkusen, the second goal was scored by Tillman, so he's got a brace here, and Patrick Schick with the assist. Bodo Glimt have scored the equaliser against Atletico Madrid. So not many clean sheets are really flying around here. Yes, Martinelli goal. Come on, lad. Absolute legend. Oh, wow, he stole that as well. Because I think that would have been a Gyökeres goal. Oh, nice little flick by Yeah. Who was that who did the flick? Oh, wait. Did Havertz, like... I think he put his head over his hands because his assist got robbed. But yeah, Gyökeres assist and Martinelli goal. Lovely, lovely stuff. Thank you, Martinelli. The goal was awarded. No offside. So it has been confirmed. Wow, so really good stuff there from Gyökeres and Havertz. Big returns from them. Goal and assist apiece. Nice. Very nice. Okay. Playoffs going to be interesting. Loads of players we have not thought about as much. Yes, and that was the case last season. And some teams that you wouldn't have doubled or tripled up on. I think Real Madrid was one example last time out when they faced City. Yeah, that is also going to enter the equation. What a pity Napoli have equalised and disallowed goal against Ajax. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that Napoli have scored, but not from a UCL fantasy perspective. Benfica 1-1. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I didn't see that. My second year playing UCL fantasy and I'm 497th in the world and 40 points already this week. That's a great score so far and there's plenty more to come and a fantastic rank to say the least. So keep on going. Marseille and Napoli emerging to be eliminated from the knockout matches. As things stand, yes, but Napoli just scored against you. Yeah, the thing that's annoying is that rivals seem to get exactly the same team even when you try to go different. Yes, that's very frustrating, especially in head-to-head. But yeah, for FPL, it's still a long season. Double gamings and blanks can also play a part, and the combination of certain assets will also be very crucial. So yeah, Benfica goal, Leverkusen score, Tillman gets a brace, and yeah, 1-1 Bodo Glimt, and Benfica Sheldrup, and Martinelli scores. Yes, that is all we wanted. Both Madrid clubs clean sheet wiped out. Lamby says, I watch you. FPL Dylan, Pras, yeah, some familiar faces in there, all of them. The general viewpoint of them makes it easier. If you watch just one, you tend to copy them. Yeah, that's true. And like I said, it depends on the person watching because, yeah, some might watch multiple and that means they might be less prone to copying, but they might take one element from one creator, one from the other, and jumble them together. But it's best to just engage in the discussion, form different opinions, and have different viewpoints, and then ultimately make your own transfers. Yes, I am happy. Arsenal goal, and it's a player bought in, so it's double success and joy. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going well. I mean, Kepa conceded as part of a hit. Vinicius, nothing so far. But Haaland and Martinelli, who are both bought in, yeah, they've done the job. So, can't complain on that front. The game FPL ranking is top around 100th place. Champions League ranking is not as good. Wow, that's a really good rank, yeah. Some people in the chat with some fantastic ranks for FPL and UCL Fantasy. Havertz, huge miss. He's got a goal and assist, though. I'm not going to complain. Upamecano, yellow card. Fantastic. Sometimes I'd rather just not know. Ignorance is bliss. Why Alderete over James Hill? I just think long-term, Bournemouth aren't great defensively. I mean, look, if you're not going for Senesi and the rest of your defensive line looks solid, it's not a bad shout, but James Hill isn't exactly like a nailed-on starter like Senesi, and there is the possibility for Diakite to get some appearances as well. Havertz goal and 2 assists already. Yeah, great start from him, definitely. Zero says, I take back whatever I've said against Gyökeres. He absolutely bullies the smaller teams. Yeah, we just need him to do that in the big games, and he needs more service as well. Do you think Ekitike will start against Newcastle? I couldn't guarantee it. At the moment, I'm going to say yes, especially if he's subbed off earlier today. I captained Vanaken from Bruges, and then I realised that Bruges were 2-0. I felt like the special one, and he wasn't involved. Yeah, he's still a good UCL fantasy asset, though, but it is a shame. And I think all of us will feel similar. Well, we would have felt similar about Martinelli until his recent goal. Old format or new format? Probably the new one. Means more match days, more videos, more streams, more football, more excitement, and I think it increases the stakes in the league phase. And it also helps that Arsenal have done very well last season and this season with this new format. It's now that I realise that Copenhagen are in the top of Barcelona. Well, yes, 1-0, and Barca are in big trouble right now. My overall rank in FPL is around 200,000. Not great, but looking to improve. And I was making big progress in October and November. Then I sort of stagnated a bit in December. How it's going, I'm going to be lucky to get 40 points. We haven't reached half-time yet, though, so let's wait. I like the head-to-head leagues in FPL. I don't, because there's so much randomness. I mean, that's part of the beauty and fun, but I definitely prefer Classic. If old format, a top team likely qualify in matchday 3 or 4. In the new format, have to wait until the last match day to determine who goes through. Yeah, that's why I prefer the new format, but it also is influenced by how well your team does. How come Mbappe hasn't had the points added? It'll happen soon, don't worry. Yeah, it took a while, I think, for Haaland, or at least a few minutes, for his points to be added. You can also see Martinelli's on 2 points there, but yeah, it will be added very soon, don't you worry. Real Madrid is suffering, Benfica is making a lot of chances. And 2-1 Napoli Højlund, so Gusto is not looking good. Even Bern is slightly better at the moment. Is it time to move away from double Arsenal defence? If anything, I would say it's time to add or to hold on to it, because I think they will get back to a stronger base defensively. Calafiori's back, and I know he considered the penalty today, but he will primarily play as a left-back, and that gives Arsenal more balance in terms of their offensive nature. And Arsenal keeping more clean sheets with that backline of Raya, Calafiori, Gabriel Saliba, and Timber. And I think the last two should be available against Leeds. If I were to sell a Ekitike, should I buy a Vanelson? He was one of my recommended punts and differentials in my transfer tips. So yeah, I'd be quite keen on Evanilson. I think Bournemouth are worth covering. Yeah, Napoli 2-1 up. Vanaken did a nice dummy with the first goal, but doesn't get you points. Yeah, very fancy. Very nice to watch, but no points, which is what we're after. Lambie says, I have Foden, Enzo and Mbumo, Bruno Fernandes and Rice in my midfield. I want Foden out. For Ahmad, Anderson or Rodgers, it's going to be Rodgers for me. Definitely. And you've already got 2 United midfielders. I wouldn't add a third. Once Bruno Guimaraes is available, I think he should be worth considering. And yeah, I think Rodgers is probably the missing piece for you. Or you've got Rice and Enzo already. Semenyo? I would say Semenyo and then Rodgers. Bodo Glimt are so good for a tiny village, it's wild. Yeah, they did very well against City, and they're causing Atletico all sorts of problems. And just looking at the results again. Yeah, Pavlidis was the one who got the assist for Benfica. There is a goal by Slavia Prague, it's 1-1. And a few games have reached half-time. Oliveira with 2 assists for Napoli against Chelsea. But yeah, that is a very chaotic first half there in the Champions League, and still over 100 people watching, which I definitely appreciate. Twisted Parky says, in EFL Fantasy, I took out MK forward 5 minutes from kickoff. I listened to people and went against the gut. In the first game off, 2, he had a hat-trick by half-time. The forward I got blanked. That is an insane swing. And yeah, sometimes you can't even soothe or reassure and things like that. But look, it is just a game at the end of the day, but very frustrating when you're so close to greatness like that. But still in EFL 2000, not bad. Yeah, still a great rank. I'm not sure how many people play that game, but yeah, I would imagine a few 100,000 or at least a few thousand, so it's looking good. Where do you think Sterling might go? Maybe Brighton. Why not? That's a good question. He could go anywhere at this point, but he was released by Chelsea. Remains to be seen, but I think a move to another Premier League club is possible. I think that's more likely. Lambie says not doing Semenyo, gonna go Rodgers, Foden dropping tonight, but Aston Villa play tomorrow. I'd still wait if you can, because as you say, Aston Villa play tomorrow. Rodgers could start or at least get some minutes, and there's always a risk of injury. So even with other teams, we could see something else pop up during training and in the press conferences on Friday. So I always prioritize information over team value and early transfers, even though I see the appeal and it's important at times. But yeah, I think it's probably best to wait if possible. Thank you everyone for watching for the past 2 hours and a half. If you haven't already, like this stream, subscribe to the channel, hit the hype button and all that good stuff. Let's try to close in on new goals like 39k subscribers on YouTube, and follow me on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Dylan RCM, and check all the links in the description for my Patreon and the championships, for access to my videos, proud to comments, amongst many other perks. My Discord server, the UCL Fantasy League, and Spotify can also be found in the description. Newcastle have scored. Do not say Dan Burn. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not asking for something unreasonable here. Do not say Dan Burn was involved. And he was. Oh my God. Dan Burn assist. Are you serious? Oh, I just knew it. When you said Newcastle goal, I knew Dan Burn was involved. I'm literally face palming right now. And yeah, that's just unbelievable. Willock with the last minute goal before half time. So it would have been better just to start Dan Burn. Well, actually, am I overreacting? Probably. Because I did get Martinelli. But yeah, instead of Gusto, yeah, that would have been much better. Oh dear. And Dan Burn already had 3 ball recoveries. They haven't added the assist yet, but yeah, he's on 5 points at the moment on my bench. A 5-point swing between him and Gusto. Oh dear. Absolutely oh dear. After a promising start there for Chelsea, it hasn't gone too well afterwards. But yeah, let's not say too much about Dan Burn. Oh dear. Well, Joe Willock used to play for Arsenal. Yeah, if we have played FPL before, yeah, you would know about him a little bit. Yeah, Burn assist. I just knew it was going to end like that. What a way to end the Matchday Deadline stream. Oh dear. Thank you as well, Lambie. Much appreciated, and hopefully I helped you a little bit with your plans there for FPL. We can talk more about that over the weekend. Burn assist. I need to bring in Bumo to my team FPL. In UCL, it's 1-1 in the match. Paris clean sheet wiped out. Yeah, and Bumo's going to be a good acquisition, and I talked about him a lot in my recent transfer tips. I was wrong about him a couple of weeks ago, and he has scored against Arsenal, Man City since then. But yeah, Fernandes for me is still the go-to option. Yeah, I had him, I took him out. My luck is crazy. You are right, I have overcomplicated things this season, taking in too much content, building a list of sites for all the key bits. Yeah, with XG and stuff, I'm using FF stuff, and sometimes I refer to SofaScore and different pages like that, but yeah, free ones, I think FF stuff would be one, and that's a really good one, which I refer to quite often. And of course, with the other websites I told you about, FPL.team, livefpl.net, not for XG, but for price changes and visualizing future moves as well. I am aware of that, Lambie. I was going to wrap up with the last screen showing my socials, but yeah, because of that Dan Burn bloody assist, I'm back for a few seconds, minutes more before going again. Benfica pen in stoppage time. So yeah, Benfica 2, Real Madrid 1. Very interesting results happening here. A few surprises. And yeah, I think the second half is going to be full of goals, action, and drama. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you to Stupaki. Yeah, Burn assist. Juan says, I have Pacho. Yeah, another clean sheet wiped out. How many oh dears will you say? No more. I'm done reacting to that. Akanji, my only defender, holding on to the clean sheet. Let's not speak too soon. Someone just asked, what the hell is Willock? That got me on the floor. Yeah, it's a player, not anything else. So Pavlidis with the penalty goal. So that's a nice return from him. Goal and assist. I should have gone over Gusto. I'll be honest though, I just didn't think Burn would return, and he has, so it is what it is. And it was a good start for Gusto and Chelsea. Thank you, Lambie, and everyone else watching. Yeah, Benfica 2, Real Madrid 1. End of the first half, and Benfica got the second one. Yeah, absolute chaos here in UCL Fantasy. At least Mbappe scored, but wow, so many shocks in store for us, and maybe comebacks as well in the second half. I'll see you very soon for more FPL content. There will be a little break for UCL Fantasy, but I will be back for the knockout playoff rounds for match days 9 and 10. We do get unlimited transfers for the first leg, and I look forward to welcoming you then, that's for sure. Take care, enjoy the football, and I wish you all the best of luck for the rest of match day 8. The same goes for the rest of the season, and I'll see you this weekend for the next FPL deadline stream. Take care.